Alrighty, guys. So we are live. Tonight is a pretty awesome stream that I have set up here. I have some special guests I'm going to bring it in here shortly. We're waiting on a couple other guests, but we're going to get this bad boy started in a little bit. But if you guys can't tell by the title, if you can't tell by the date on the calendar, today we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's film, which is obviously adapted from a Stephen King novel, and we'll talk about that in regards to the Stephen King's love for this film. But we're going to break it all down, but I'm so excited to watch this movie tonight, not only to celebrate it with you all, but also to interact with some awesome guests that I brought on tonight. Like I said, we still got a couple people we're waiting on, but before they get on the live stream, I'm going to bring in some of my guests here. Starting off with my guy from the West Coast, David from Flix Talk. If you guys want to just introduce yourself to the audience, tell them what your channel is about, and tell a little bit about your fandom, your love, or your hate for The Shining. So I'm going to go ahead and bring David into the chat. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for having me back on, Elliot, once again. It's always awesome. One of my favorite movies, might be one of my favorite Stanley Kubrick movies, you know, next to Full Metal Jacket. I absolutely love that one. But yeah, this was one that I had to pick up. I have a couple different copies. I actually really do love this movie. 4K, I just got it, so everything looks really crisp. But to get prepared for this movie, I watched the documentary Room 237. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's kind of just like a fan-made documentary, so it's kind of like you take it as what it is. You know, these fans try to dissect it and whatnot. But I do remember watching this as a kid, just getting freaked out. It was like more of a tension-based movie than it was a horror-based movie. Kind of a mind trip, you know, a lot of crazy imagery going around, but it scared the hell out of me. But anyways, guys, I am David from Flix Talk. You guys can check me out on my channel. All the links in the description down below. Very easy to find, guys. And what I do on my channel is I do a lot of movie reviews, whether that be on Netflix. Unfortunately, theaters are closed right now, but before that, I was doing, you know, Thursday night, premiere night reviews and stuff like that, as well as, like I said, VOD right now. And then we do these watch-alongs, you know, thanks to Elliot. He introduced me to the whole watch-along world, so I'm getting more into that, as well as unboxing. I have an unboxing coming a little later tonight, guys. And movie news. I'm getting more into movie news, so I'm going to try to do this daily movie news. So make sure you guys subscribe to my channel if you guys want to hear the latest and greatest in movie news, movie talk, Flix Talk.
Definitely. He has a lot of great content on his channel, guys. And like David said, when I put out the kind of the call signal, if anyone wanted to join, he wanted to definitely jump on this. So I know he's excited to watch this film, and I'm excited to hear his thoughts on the movie. Got the shirt, got it all, got it rocking. So with that, we're going to bring in our next guest. This guy has some awesome content on his channel. He talks movies, he talks shows, he talks about music, he talks about everything. I'm bringing in, he's actually been on my channel before. We talked about devs. That's how we actually got connected. So I'm bringing in PURP Minded. What's going on, man?
This PURP, and yeah, thank you, Elliot, for having me on. You know, like I said earlier, I apologize for not showing up last watch along. I really wanted to be a part of it, but I'm glad that I was able to be part of this one, because The Shining is definitely my favorite, possibly my favorite horror movie of all time. No, definitely is my favorite horror movie of all time, but possibly my favorite movie of all time. So I'm just hyped up to do this watch along and be a part of this conversation and stuff. And you know, yeah, you can find me at PURP Minded on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I talk about everything pretty much under the sun, just anything that interests me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we can get this started.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate it, guys. Like I said, he covers a little bit of everything, just like David covers news. I know PURP keeps up with the news as well, and I'm excited to have him on because, again, we bonded over devs, man, which is a super heady show, but I'm glad I'm able to get you on this horror panel to talk about The Shining, which you said might arguably be your favorite movie, not just horror film, but movie of all time. So yeah, excited to hear about that and get your thoughts on the film. So this next person I'm bringing on is someone I've been a fan of for a very long time. She has a great Instagram account. She has a lot of great conversations on her channel. She's a big horror fan. She writes for a horror website. So I'm so excited to have her on the panel, hear her thoughts about this, hear her opinions on it. And just, I'm so excited to have her on. I'm bringing in the next person, HorrorMania. What's going on?
Hey guys, okay, first of all, I already know I'm gonna screw up on this trivia because you guys are talking about how The Shining is one of your favorite movies of all time, and I've actually only seen it once. So we all know I'm gonna lose in that department. But yeah, I do love horror movies a lot. I created my page about 8 years ago just so I could meet like-minded people, and now I'm meeting even people who love movies of all genres, not just horror, which is great. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be part of this watch along, and thanks for including me. I didn't have a Shining shirt, so I had to go with an Evil Dead one. But yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome.
watch The
Yeah,
Shining.
I'm so excited to hear your opinions on it because again, I haven't revisited this film. It's been a couple years, so me and you both
It's been
going
a
to be
cool
kind of
minute.
rediscovering some things we may have forgot about, and obviously have some great conversations with the rest of the panel. So I'm so excited to have you on. So another gentleman that I am just got acquainted to, someone from Instagram linked us up, Eve from Cinemania's connected us, and this gentleman here, just like everyone else on the panel, loves horror, has a great YouTube channel. He talks about horror. He's a great personality, got a lot of great information to share with us all. So I'm excited to bring him on for the first time. So what's going on, Mr. Death Breath? How we doing tonight, man?
Hey guys, how's it going? First off, want to give a major shout out to Eve. She introduced us sin.mantics on Instagram. She has a great channel or a great page. She has bite-sized reviews. Also want to give a shout out to my Spooky Squad, Michelle Halloween, Monster on Your Bed, The Artist Amy Ruiz, Witches Brew Jack, Batty Sith. So basically what I do is I do spoiler-free film reviews, sometimes celebrity interviews. I've done a few red carpets. I've interviewed everyone from Tyler Maine to Eddie Furlong, and just movie reviews and spoiler-free ones, and it's been fun. So thanks for having me. Glad to be part of this, and I'm wearing this. I don't know, it's kind of a lame shirt, but whatever.
Nice.
I can't get my camera right, so
No
I almost
worries,
didn't get
man.
in on time. So sorry
No
about the delay,
worries, man. I'm so glad to have you on. Again, guys, all of these people that's on the panel tonight, again, check them out. All their links are in the bios below, so definitely check out their Instagrams, their YouTubes, their Twitters. They have a lot of great opinions. They're horror fans, they're movie fans, and they're also great people, so definitely support them. So we're waiting on one more person, Q Reviews. Hopefully he pops in sooner rather than later, but we're going to probably get this bad boy started in about 3 minutes. So before we get into it, we got some people in the chat. I'm just going to kind of bring up some things here. Again, guys, I appreciate you coming on tonight. If you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up. Again, not only subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, but subscribe to all these awesome content creators. But we got Connor in the chat here, grabbing some dinner. Going to jump right into the stream. No worries, man. Definitely. Everyone at home. Is anyone, David, HorrorMania, do you guys got some food, some snacks, some drinks? You guys good on the snack
Got some
department?
water.
Got some water? Awesome.
I'm good. I ate before the stream, so I'm good.
Yeah, I ate before the stream too.
Gotcha.
I just
I'm
had
the only one that
yogurt,
hasn't eaten.
so no, I haven't
Gotcha.
either. I know I'm gonna be starving after.
I know I'm probably passed out in the middle of the stream, so don't worry if I do,
I
guys.
do have water though, so we're good.
Same. So gotta stay hydrated. Definitely. We got Robert. Can't wait. Yeah, we're gonna get this bad boy started here in a bit, guys. Excited that you guys were able to join tonight. Again, Robert, he joins on. He's been on a lot of our streams. He always talks about his 4K, so I'm glad he's able to watch this horror film in true 4K HDR definition. That's awesome. And you got your 4K. I got my Blu-ray. I guess it's I'm old school. Yeah. Awesome.
That's a good combo pack. That's a good combo pack right there.
I don't think I appreciate it.
It's 2001, A Clockwork Orange, and The Shining.
That's an awesome collection. Yeah,
that is.
A Clockwork is still my favorite though from him. So
we'll talk about Stanley. Yeah, he's an on tour director for sure. I don't think I appreciated it the first time. Did you love it? I guess that's a great question from Connor, guys, and we'll kind of do roundtable style, starting with David. When you first saw it, were you able to take in the nuances, the little Easter eggs, the meaning behind things? What was your first experience with The Shining, David?
Well, see, I forget the exact year that it did come out. Maybe you guys can chime in. But I saw this
1980.
Okay, so I was a little kid. I mean, this is before I was born, but I saw this when I was very, very, very young. Mainly because my uncle owned a video store for a couple of years, so he had a lot of VHS, and we would see the movies like right when they would hit. But this had been up for a while. But he would always take them home, and this is when we just popped in, and I just remember being creeped out by the little girls as a little kid, So it was just more of a creepiness factor. I didn't really understand it, so I guess technically that was my first time. But years later, it started to become a cult classic for me, just rewatching it, starting to notice the Easter eggs. And then when I dove into like a lot of the not conspiracies, but like the fan theories, I guess, with things, I got a little more intrigued in it. And that's why I watch it constantly, like every year.
Nice. Same with you, Part. What was kind of your first stumblings about this horror classic? Like you said, one of your first films of all time, man. What was the history behind it?
I mean, honestly, I can't remember the first time I watched The Shining. It's probably when I was younger, so like that's why I can't really remember.
Gotcha.
But it's just what's special about it to me is just every time I watch it, it never gets old. It's just one of those like nostalgic movies for me, especially horror. I think it just hits all the beats of a perfect horror movie where there's suspense, it's psychological, the atmosphere is there, and just from the moment it starts, obviously we're gonna get into it, but you know, just everything. It's just I wish I could remember exactly the first time I watched it, but I can't off the top of my head.
No worries. Maybe, I mean, once we get, we're going to press, I'm going to delay the start time in a little bit. Just want to get you guys' opinion on this question, but we're going to, maybe when we watch this, Perk, you'll probably recollect some of the old kind of thoughts of nostalgia moments when you came about it. So it'll be a fun watch. So yeah, same with you, Mr. Death Breath, in regards to coming about this film. You know, when you were young, did you appreciate it when you first saw it? What's kind of your experience with it, man?
You know, honestly, I don't remember when I watched it, but I know that I was really young, and I remember loving it. I remember just thinking it was insane, you know, like you know, what Perp was saying, the little girls, you know, and then just like the little foreshadowing is like, yeah, the last caretaker, he kind of went crazy and chopped up his family. He's like, I'm not a weirdo like that, you know. It's just a little bits, little nuances. It's just, I don't know, man. It's like the whole film and the whole place itself, the Overlook Hotel. It's like, it's a character in itself, and it's just so much fun. And I don't know. I mean, I lost count how many times I've seen it. But I do want to say that a movie that really caught me off guard, considering it's been 40 years since this one was released, was Dr. Sleep. And that blew me away because that was just this intense film.
Talk about that.
And I mean, so many movies have been terrible. So many sequels I've seen that have just been lackluster. But 40 years later, they make a sequel that's connected and it's just as good as The Shining. So, I mean, wow. But I digress. But basically, I love The Shining. I have a wallet with Jack Torrance with his head through the door. And I mean, I love the movie. It's amazing.
Nice.
Perfect movie, really.
We're definitely going to be talking about Dr. Sleep and just the state of horror and some of you guys' favorite horror films. We're going to have some great conversations. But same with you, HorrorMania, in regards to your first time watching it, appreciating it, and kind of where it sits with you now.
I actually watched it for the first time about, I want to say 5 years ago. There are a ton of classics I haven't seen, and I'm working my way through them. But this was definitely one that I had to watch. It was super long, so I had to make sure it was a day I was sick and stuck in bed. And I remember it was on HBO, and I just put it on, and I really liked it. I thought the cinematography was great in it, just visually was pleasing, and yeah, it blew me away. It was good, but I haven't revisited only because it's so long. So I'm excited for this.
Gotcha. No, same here. I mean, for me, I think the first time I saw it, it was like a lot of you guys said, it was really young. I really didn't appreciate it for what it was. I just thought it was, like you just said, super long movie, and I wasn't really into horror as much as I am now. But it was honestly, I want to say maybe about 3-4 years ago when I rewatched for the first time in a very long time, and I really kind of appreciate all the different nuances. Like David said, there's so many different Easter eggs, and there's the explain type of videos about the Overlook Hotel being over at Indian Burial and all the different Indian backgrounds and kind of the undertone of some of the messages that Stanley Kubrick had in the film. So I definitely came to appreciate it when I was a lot older, and It's definitely a classic. Like Perk said, it's one of my favorite horror films of all time, and definitely in my top tier in regards to this movie. So I'm excited, guys. So with that kind of being said, hopefully Q Reviews is doing all right, and he'll pop in. And once he's in, we'll bring him in. But if you guys are ready, we'll go ahead and cue this up. So
party time.
Party time is for sure. So what I'm going to do, guys, I have this little watch or clock that I'm going to bring up periodically throughout the stream. So if you guys are just popping in, you'll know where we're at. So in the count of, so instead of for 3, 2, 1, I'm going to say go. And then once I say go, we'll all press play. So with that being said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pressing play, go.
Boom.
All right.
Does everyone see the Warner Brothers logo?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. Yep. Okay.
We are there.
I'm like, damn it, why am I seeing him chop down a door? You're like, no.
Awesome. So again, guys, I'll bring this timer up periodically. So for anyone that's dropping into the stream, you'll know exactly where we are. So first and foremost, one of the coolest openings to a movie, in my opinion, I always kind of took this opening shot as like a ghost, like floating across the water and kind of looking for his next prey or looking for the next victim to lurch onto. What did you guys think about this opening shot? I know we all have our audio kind of low, but that score, just kind of where you guys are, kind of round table style, starting off with David. This
Yeah,
open
so
shot, man.
So I always watch these watch-alongs on mute with you guys. So I always just have subtitles on, but I can picture it in my I could just hear it in my head already. Probably one of the best haunting scores, like next to Jaws. Like you know this theme, right? So you know it's coming. You just know it's setting the tone for sure. Landscape is awesome. I remember they got this. I always thought I was like, how the hell did they achieve this shot? And then I remember seeing like a shadow of like a helicopter, I think down here somewhere in the right hand corner. They might have cropped it off, but like amazing shots. It just sets for you're going sideways. It looks like someone's it reminds me of Evil Dead. You remember when the spirits kind of going through? So awesome shots.
Definitely. Like I said, to me, and again, David, you just brought up a good point in regards to just that sweeping shot. And you see, of course, you see like the helicopter there. But like I said, I always kind of looked at it as like a ghost, again, just kind of floating through, going up to the hotel. But yeah, same with you, Parker, in regards to this opening scene, the score, the atmosphere so far, kind of these first opening shots, man. What's your thoughts? Oh, you there, Perk?
You might have
Maybe
lost
took
him.
a bathroom break. Maybe one of the ghosts got him. I'll go on.
My bad. I didn't even realize I was on mute. My fault.
No worries.
I was saying you hit it on the nail on the head, or however the reference goes. But this to me is better than the opening crawl for Star Wars. To me, honestly, just like how haunting it is, and just exactly how it's bringing you to your destination of where this movie's about to start, pretty much, and like. It's iconic. Still,
definitely.
I love it.
Same here, man. And same with you, Mr. Death Breath, in regards to just this opening shot, man, and just this sweeping shot and kind of the atmosphere and the score. What's your thoughts, man?
I do want to say I totally agree with David. Right, you're wearing the Shining shirt, right?
Yeah,
David. Yeah, what you said, it almost reminds me of, like you said, the Evil Dead, the whole force. Like this is like the force of whatever it is, And it's awesome. It's creepy. It's better than the Star Wars quote. Completely, I completely agree. And it's just eerie. And it's funny because it's beautiful, but the score makes it seem like it's ominous, right? It's just so good. I mean, it's awesome. I don't know. I just love it. I love all of it. You know what I mean? It's an awesome movie, and this is an awesome beginning, and that score and everything is just amazing.
I agree. What about you, HorrorMania, in regards to just thoughts on opening shot?
I love it when movies use nature in it in general. And you're right. This movie has one of the best soundtracks ever. So I think that accompanied with the beauty of nature, it's perfect. I love it.
Awesome. So we got our first shot here of Jack, played by the incredible Jack Nicholson. This guy's a fantastic actor. I mean, this is one of the greatest of all time. We haven't seen him in so long in a film, but I mean, this character here. And what are you guys' thoughts on Jack Nicholson in his role in this film as Jack Torrance? Starting with you, David.
Man, there's no one else that I'm sure there's a list that's out there. I haven't researched it of who they probably want. I'm sure with Harrison Ford. It's always Harrison Ford back in the 80s and 70s. For some reason, it's always Harrison Ford. But he just fits. I mean, this is around the time of, this is a little after One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? So a little bit, he had that manic, just nature in him, and he's just the faces. I mean, later in life we saw with Batman and stuff like that. He played Joker, so it's like he fits these certain roles perfectly, and I thought it was perfect casting. Even Wendy right here, or the woman that plays Wendy, I totally forget her actual name. Shelley Duvall. I thought this was perfect casting, as well as Danny too, young Danny. So I love the casting all the way around. Scatman Crothers as well. So it's like
Scatman Crothers.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's crazy because it's not that many people we're focusing on, maybe 3 or 4 at a time, but it's perfect. Like everyone to me was a perfect casting choice.
I agree. What about you, Perk, in regards to just the cast as a whole, but then, like I said, the legendary actor Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance, man? What's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think it was perfect casting. I don't think you could have replaced his talent for his role as Jack. You got Jack Nicholson playing Jack. It's ironic, and I love the foreshadowing you get right in this office scene. And it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of the bouncing off of that, Mr. Death Breath, in regards to just kind of this, again, Jack Nicholson, but then this scene, and also we got our quick introduction of the little finger. So, what you think about that?
The boy that lives inside his brain, right? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson, they couldn't have done it better. But I also want to add, one thing I love about it is just the subtleties. Like when he starts getting to that point of madness, he kind of just gets like those deep-seated eyes and just this aggression. He's like, what? You know? I just love it. But, you know, I was thinking, like, who would be a good, I mean, not that we ever want remakes, but if they did, I mean, what actor would be a good actor to take over the mantle as Jack? And I was kind of thinking maybe Christian Bale could do it because he's capable of anything. Oh, yeah. Like, he can pretend to be a paper bag that turns into a person, and I will believe it because he's incredible. Yeah. Maybe, so, but going back to the question, though, it's an amazing performance, and it just starts off subtle and just explodes into this thing of whatever he is and what he becomes. And just, it's perfect. I mean, it's brilliant. It's amazing.
Definitely. No, I mean, you know, finishing up your thoughts on it, Horror, in regards to Jack Nicholson and the performance, and this again, this scene here, and the little, like Perk said, the foreshadowing, what's to come, and kind of how he just brushes off that someone died in this hotel, and he's just like, "Oh, my wife will love it. She loves horror films." So,
I think Jack Nicholson is kind of like Willem Dafoe. There's certain roles that only he can play, and I can't picture anyone else playing it, and this is one of them. Come to think of it, maybe Willem Dafoe could play Jack. I don't know.
It's a good casting.
You're right. But yeah, he's great in it. His ascension into madness, every like multi-layer character, he portrays all of those so well. And I'll be honest, I don't remember this part really well. But of course he would brush it off. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
I think one of the things, and also too, to answer the question in regards to casting, again, going back to, and we'll talk about Dr. Sleep, but I can't think of the actor's name, but the guy that kind of recreated, had the actor kind of recreate that Jack Nicholson character. I know he was in The Haunting on Hill House too. He was the dad in the flashbacks, but I thought that he looked like Jack Nicholson, even though he wasn't in the movie that much in the Dr. Sleep. But I thought that he was kind of spot on.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. Yeah,
Henry Thomas. That's his name.
Thomas. Yep. Yeah, I thought that he did a really good job. And like I said, smaller role, but I thought he brought the essence to the character, even in his small role that he had there. But so what are you guys' thoughts on, if this was a present day storyline, would Jack go to the Overlook Hotel, where he just write his book at a Starbucks? I mean, if there were Starbucks around back then, would he just go there and write his book and never go to the Overlook Hotel?
He might be.
Yeah.
I me personally, people still do it. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I think most authors are method authors as well. I mean, they want to put themselves in that claustrophobic location, right? That's why you get movies like Misery, where you have people kind of force themselves into isolation. So, I mean, come on, you can't really write a book and take your phone with you. It's too much distraction, right? So you have to do whatever it takes. Go to a place that has no cell service whatsoever and just force yourself to write. And that's what's and it's so funny when Shelley Duvall's character constantly, and it's jumping forth in the movie, but constantly is bugging him and he's trying to write, and because I get the exact same way when I'm on the computer and my girlfriend comes in asking me what I'm doing, I'm like, don't talk to me, So it's very relatable in these senses, but you need I think it could work. Going back to that remake, I hope it never happens. Then again, I never wanted Scarface to happen, and we're going to get one. So
I still don't want that.
No, I know.
It's gonna be the third one. It's going to be the third one. So.
So is it a sequel?
No, I'm saying like the one that came out in the 80s is a remake.
Yeah.
Right. So this is like the third Scarface movie.
The third time they redo it, but I would never want to see this remade, but if it was, I mean, I could see this storyline kind of playing out just as far as the isolation factor goes,
Definitely. And I mean, to that point in regards to remakes, and I'm never one to, because I have my classics and, we have our untouchable films, but I'm kind of in a mindset where if you give any storyteller the right script, the right actors, the right talent, they can recreate anything, right? That's what I am actually excited about the Scarface remake, just because I'm a big Luca Guadagnino fan. And also the Coen brothers are writing the film, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking forward to that. So I think when you get the right pieces, and then we'll talk about Dr. Sleep, like I said, as you probably said, we've been talking about Dr. Sleep a lot. I think all of us probably that have seen it have liked that film. But I thought that what Mike Flanagan did is what, anyone can do, which is, show appreciation to what the Arthur did, also making a sequel to this, which brings me to my next question. Have any of you guys read the actual Shining book or any of the Stephen King novels?
Not in a long time.
Can't say I have, no.
I've read a few, but I haven't read The Shining.
Okay. Have
Yeah,
you
I was
read?
gonna say I've never read The Shining, but
Okay,
I've
gotcha.
read like a few other books from him. So
Gotcha. Well, me personally, guys, I haven't read any of his books. I'm not a big book reader. When I was in high school and college, I read, but for whatever reason, the older I got, the less I read, which is terrible. But I know, obviously, a lot of you guys know the history in between, the Stephen King's kind of impressions on this film, and he's not a big fan of it. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with some of the things that are different from the book to the novel, but I know one of the biggest things was Jack Torrance in regards to he was a little bit more of a sympathetic dad and a little bit more caring. But in this film, pretty early on, we see that he's, yanked his son's shoulder out of his arm. And, obviously he's bringing his family to this potentially haunted hotel. So are you guys familiar with a lot of the differences between the book and the movie?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched one of those YouTube videos, what's in the book, what's not. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have an idea.
There we go. Yeah, the finger's back. Tony's telling
Tony.
him. Yeah. Now we're gonna get a little deep on this question here, guys. Starting with David, did you have a Tony of your own, man? Did you have an imaginary friend?
He's gonna make us look like a bunch of freaks.
As far as I can remember, I do not think I had a Tony. No, I don't think I had any imaginary friends whatsoever. I mean, I played with action figures like little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Power Rangers, but I don't remember if I made them talk or anything. I just remember made them fight and all that stuff, But yeah, that was the closest Tony I had.
Gotcha. Before we get to Pert's answer, we got my boy Q in the chat in the stream, guys. So I'm gonna have Q reviews. If you can hear me, man, I'm gonna bring you in, let the people know what you're about, and tell them a little bit about your love for The Shining. So we got Q reviews. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing, Elliot? Thanks
good, man.
for having me once again to talk about The Shining. This should be very, very exciting. I am Q Reviews, a big horror movie buff. So The Shining is it's my favorite Stanley Kubrick film. I don't know, just his direction in this film is just masterful. The great performance by, of course, Jack Nicholson, Crothers, man. The music, the isolation is the perfect time to be watching this film right about now.
Definitely, man. Tell them a little bit about your channel, man. What you got on Q Reviews, man? What can people look for?
Oh yeah. Well, I got a nice touching message to the Snyder fans with a little Sarah McLachlan there. Trying to save the Snyder fans. You can go ahead and check that out. Got a couple other reviews coming out. Just riding the wave. I don't know. Go check Q Reviews out if you want to laugh or have a good time and get some insight on movies. I'll be there.
There you go, guys. Do you guys, all of us, when we're done with the stream tonight, guys, head over to Q Reviews. He did this video that had me dying laugh. Not only his Snyder Cut video that he did, but he did this video. I can't remember the title of it, but it was the whole sleep paralysis demon.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
Where he showed Freddie dancing like.
I was laughing, guys. So funny. But I'm glad you're able to join us tonight, Q. And we're gonna get into this here, guys. So, and again, Q, I'm gonna hear for not only Q, but everyone that's just tuning into the chat. Just get you guys up to speed. Let me bring up my clock here so you know where we're at. And here we go. So for Q and everyone else in the chat, for those who are just tuning in, we are close to 14 minutes into the film. We're now seeing that young Danny had a little bit of a blackout. His friend Tony kind of warned him. We saw that iconic shot of the blood coming from the elevator. So it's going down. It's going down. Danny is a fantastic character. I love how the sequel kind of gives you a little bit more insight on Danny, but I thought that the kid did a really good job. So. So here, let me take this down and go back. Let's see. We got some people in the chat too. Again, guys, for those that are just tuning in, make sure you check out all these content creators' channels, their Instagrams, support them. They got a lot of great content, guys. So let's bring this
and that was great. That was the first time we got to see The Shining, or as groundskeeper Willie calls it, The Shinning. So I mean, it was awesome.
You want to get
sued? Yeah. So it was great that that's already kicking in. Just not even knowing that his dad is over there, interviewing and just kind of learning the grounds work and stuff, or the lay of the land, pretty much. It's already kicking into him, right? He's already feeling everything. So that's really cool.
So this is an interesting question here. Did any of you guys watch the Shining miniseries by chance?
I haven't seen it, but I heard it was great. I just never got around to it.
Was that the one that Stephen King actually directed?
The one back in the day, right?
The one back in the 90s, right?
Sure, I haven't.
I know it's like a 6-hour thing, right? It came out like in the early 2000s.
I actually have that on. I found it at a thrift store. It's about 3 disc or 4 disc, and I
Dang.
never saw it. I never saw it, dude. I just
think I've
it was
seen
something I had to pick up though, but because I heard it was so great.
I need to see that. I've been needing to.
Yeah, I need to put that on my
That
watch
was around when
list.
Blockbusters were still around.
Yeah.
I think that one either has Jimmy Smits or someone from that time. I'm not Jimmy Smits. Maybe let's see.
I've never
Hey,
seen
Anna, how's it
somebody
going?
light up.
What was
I've
that
never
part?
seen. No, I say I've never seen somebody light up a cigarette like that.
She got that long cigarette.
Oh yeah,
right there.
yeah.
Virginia Slim.
Oh, it's 1997.
I remember when I was younger seeing this. I always thought I can't think of the character's name, but I always thought of Popeye's girlfriend every time I saw
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Every time, like I'm just like, is Popeye gonna make an appearance and save her?
Really
Then?
long.
They're making
So-
a Shining
Oh,
series
Shelley
on HBO.
Duvall, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to say.
Scatman.
So answering, Connor had a question here, starting off with David. Thoughts
Yeah.
on a Shining HBO Max series? Would that be something you'd be interested in, David?
HBO Max is the new streaming, right? So it's like
Mhm.
everybody wants to bring whatever ideas they have to the newest streaming platform. I understand it. Could this work as far as a series? Absolutely. You can explore this world to the Earth's end, right? I mean, we saw that in Doctor Sleep. We saw how extensive this world is, and it just made me want to see more. HBO Max, I really don't know too much about what their lineup is other than the Snyder thing going on. And I mean, if they can get gritty with it, yeah, this is a dark nature. I haven't read the books at all, but based on what I saw in Doctor Sleep, this can get vicious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would love to see more of that. And if we could, let's do it. HBO Max, whatever, Hulu, anything but Netflix. I feel like Netflix seems to ruin a lot of things other than like Ozarks. So I don't know. Just stay away from Netflix.
I'm
in my
excited
eyes.
to hear Pert's answer on this one. I can't disagree with you more, David, on the Netflix thing. I don't know if you have you seen The Haunting on Hill House?
I have not.
My dude, I'm telling you right now, David, when you get a chance, that is one of the best pieces of horror I've ever seen. Like,
I agree.
No exaggeration, no lie. It is so well done, and it happens to be directed by Mike Flanagan, who directed Dr. Sleep. So I can't recommend that enough, man. Really highly recommend that show. But going on to Perk Minded, man, what would you think about seeing this formatted into a 10-part miniseries or a show on HBO Max?
I honestly wouldn't mind like seeing a one season or like one-off series, because I feel like we've seen a lot of limited series come out just in this year alone. So it'd be interesting, and there's a lot you could explore with just that universe. And based on like David said, based off of like Dr. Sleep, you can go anywhere you want with it. You can show things in the past or see how things are going to be in the future with like Abra and everything and stuff like that. So you can do whatever you can do with this the series. There's a lot of things you can do. That's pretty much right.
Definitely. No, I agree. And exploring other people with shining abilities and things of that nature. What about you, Q? Would you be checking out a Shining show if it was something that was announced on HBO Max?
Yeah, well, like like if it was based on this movie or like a whole new.
I guess thoughts on the Shining. Well, I guess just thoughts on the Shining HBO. So if they took the idea of the Shining, people that have these abilities, and turn it into a series and having different, maybe different characters and how they, whether it be in the past, the present, how they have the Shining abilities.
Oh yeah. I'll check that out for sure, dude. You know what I'm saying? I'd be highly excited. I mean, if it was done like Dr. Sleep kind of surprised me because it was so kind of different, but still stay faithful to the original source material from the movie and the book, which is really hard to do. So if they can base it on the lines of that out, yeah, for sure, I'll check that out on HBO Max. I think the Shining has a lot of good things for to create a new mythology for horror. So I'll definitely be checking out The Shining when they brought it out.
Yeah, no doubt.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, Mr. Death Breath. What about you, man? Would you be checking out a Shining show if that's something that was announced in the future?
There'd be some stipulations. I'd be open to it if they would explore, more of the characters in Doctor Sleep and maybe like the, other characters that kind of branched out.
Yeah.
But last thing I want is like X-Men. Like I really hated that episode in season 2 of Stranger Things when she teamed up with like the cool edgy X-Men from the 80s. It took me out of that whole series immediately. So if it's like this guy can control things, he can talk to this person, and now it's like, I mean, I just don't want to see that. And I feel like it's such a slippery slope where it could really be something about The Shining or just turn into another, we have powers, now we're using it, and the whole point of the whole thing got forgotten.
Gotcha. No,
So
I hear
I don't
you.
know.
I hear you.
I'm 50-50. I guess I'd have
Yeah.
to see how it went.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. The same with you, HorrorMania. In regards to, would that be something you would tune into if they were to announce a show based in the same universe as The Shining?
I would like to see one like a limited series, like a detailed maybe on the book on The Shining, because one that is specifically approved by Stephen King himself. I would like to see what like another version of it where he approves of would look like. And honestly,
Yeah.
HBO has had some great production value on their past shows, so I
Mhm.
don't know what HBO Max holds per se, but it would be nice to see it. But yeah, I wouldn't want to see like a prequel or a sequel or anything
Yeah.
like that. Just something just like based on the book, 100% on that. I
No,
would like to see that.
No, I totally agree with you. And there's, to your point on HBO in general, I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch Stephen King's book, The Outsider, that was turned into a TV series with Ben Mendelsohn and Cynthia Erivo. Did you guys watch that on HBO? It was earlier this year.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Some way
Yeah,
off.
Oh, yeah.
watch it.
I saw it.
You saw it, Perk? What about you,
Yeah.
Q?
Yeah, I saw almost to the end. I think I got 2 episodes left to watch of it, but it was very eerie and strange, and it was very different. I didn't quite know what was going on in it. And
I was
that's on purpose.
I was kind of indifferent about like the ending. It was just weird. Maybe I gotta watch it again.
Yeah, El Cuco. Yeah, if you guys didn't get a chance, check out on HBO. There's a show. Literally, the book came out like 2 years ago, so it was a really quick turnaround with this one. So definitely check that out on HBO. And to HBO Max, it's something I'm interested into. I mean, we're getting it in less than 4 days. Right now, I think their biggest pitch is kind of like Netflix when they first came out. They're dumping a bunch of nostalgia on there. So obviously you got your Friends that's going to be exclusively on there and a bunch of other shows, Harry Potter, Snyder Cut next year. So there's going to be like content to keep people busy. We're going to say, Perk?
I was going to say about the Harry Potter. They're not going to have Harry Potter on HBO Max for at least like 5 years.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
Who has it right now?
Who was it? Time Warner or something like that? I don't know. Like they got the TV deal or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I know they have, and they're going to reinvent some other shows. Like I think, like for those fans that are like of Gossip Girls, Green Lantern, so they're going to have like content on there. Yeah.
I could have swore they were supposed to launch. I could have swore they were going to launch the Boondock series because they are working on a new Boondock series for.
Oh, no way.
That'd be dope.
That'd be cool.
Green Lantern.
I wonder how much they filmed with John Witherspoon, or
voiced
with John Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Because they said the plan with that is they're gonna put out like 2, like one film, I guess, like one 1 hour special or something like that in like 2 seasons.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, we got some people in the chat talking about their fandom of Stephen King books, which like I said, I haven't personally read any, and I love a lot of his content. So one of these days I'm gonna sit down and read some books. But for you guys that are in the chat now, in the stream, I know you had mentioned that some of you guys have read some of his books. Do you guys have like a favorite book of Stephen King that you guys may have read?
I think I've only read one now that I think about it, and it was Carrie.
Carrie, gotcha.
But it was good. It was well written, so it was fun reading it.
Gotcha.
I can't remember what it was called. It's like April something. I forget exactly what it was called, but I'd have to look back into it because like it's I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember it was like one of those books that had like 3 books in one, and it was all Stephen King book novels and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But
I like Cell. That was really good.
The Cell, yeah, I heard that's a good book. Yeah,
Cell was good. Salem's Lot, Needful Things. Devastation, I believe it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, Desperation. That was wild too. Some really good books he's written. Just awesome stuff.
He's a legend. He's a legend.
But I like Clive Barker better because Stephen King takes too long to get to the point.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's another show. I forgot about that. Jay Cooper brings up Hulu did an amazing. Have you guys watched Castle Rock? Either the first season or the second season?
I love Castle Rock. I mean, I only saw the first season, and I thought it was really good.
The second season worked better for me. I had my issues with the first season, but I don't know if you guys check that out. That's on Hulu. J.J. Abrams and a bunch of other. Have any besides David? Have you guys watched Castle Rock either season 1 and 2 on Hulu?
I haven't.
No, it's been sitting in my list of stuff I have to watch, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet. It's sitting in my list. I always wanted to watch that one too. So
it has some good stuff. What about you, Perk? Have you seen it?
I was gonna say I remember the book that I like from Stephen King that I read it in high school was Apt Pupil.
Oh, Apt Pupil. That's that one about the Nazis and stuff.
Yeah.
That was a crazy movie.
Yeah, Yeah, that movie was wild. To see
Yeah,
that
that
in
was
high
crazy.
school, that was pretty wild.
Yeah, that's great.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of, and I have some questions I'll have for you guys in regards to Stephen King and some of the books, TV shows. So we'll bring that up here in a little bit. But now we got the family. Get just a little check in with everyone at home. Just let you guys know where we're at. The family has now arrived to the Overlook Hotel. We have them kind of walking through the place. It looks, it's going to be their home for the next several months while Jack writes his book. So again, for those that are just tuning in, we are 25 minutes and 50 seconds into the film. So you guys can go ahead, if you're just joining the chat, cue it up and then get caught up to where we are.
I always wonder how they do these camera shots. So like, is it on like a dolly, or how the hell do they do that? It's not a handheld because it's not shaking.
I think it was a handheld.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a rock if you notice when turning corners. It's subtle, but it's there.
It's very
no,
good.
I think this right here is on a dolly because it looks like it's moving forward slowly, very
no shake or anything, just clean and consistent.
That's one really thing I like about this horror movie. You know what I'm saying? The shots and the cinematography, just of these huge.
Hey Eve, how's it going?
Hallways and tall ceilings and everything like that. It's almost like the building is, of course, a character in itself.
Yeah.
And every frame you look at it, the colors, it seems like it's all done on purpose. But this might be looking too deep into it or something. But I don't know.
No. I mean, that's a great segue into my question for you guys, starting with David, man. Just Stanley Kubrick, man. He's an auteur director. The way I envision Stanley Kubrick coming into this franchise in 1980, again, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary, would be like someone like a Christopher Nolan or a Denis Villeneuve that will go into this horror world and adapt something like that. So just starting with you, David, Stanley Kubrick, man, his imprint on this film, and what were some of the things that stood out to you in regards to cinematography, score? What were some of the things that stood out to you, my friend?
Yeah, like I said, I was watching Room 237, that fan-made documentary before this, and that was the one thing they talked about, is Stanley Kubrick's attention to detail with keeping everything in the frame. I mean, you want to usually keep your subjects, in focus in the frame, but he did a job of keeping, the bottles on the shelf or the cans on the shelf in frame, and this is where we get our first Shining right here, interaction, by the way. But, the attention to detail, especially the scope of turning something that could have potentially not been as big and just make it look massive, right? I mean, we haven't been in the Overlook Hotel, so we don't know how it looks, but just based on what we're watching, it looks massive, right? So they did a good job of just kind of walking through, and I think the attention to detail, and I know hopefully we go to that question soon about, him versus the Stephen King adaptation, because he bashed it. He did not want Stephen King to like this at all whatsoever. He wanted it to be his own brainchild. So I think he kind of just did things his way, you know what I mean? And if you've seen like 2001, if you've seen like Full Metal Jacket, this guy has a real eye for what even Eyes Wide Shut, you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's a lot of those long shots. There's a lot of character development and stuff like that. And I think he was an amazing cinematographer.
No, for sure. Same question for you, Perk, in regards to just Stanley Kubrick's input on this film and being such an auteur director and having that attention to detail, man. What's your thought on Mr. Kubrick?
Yeah, just like how David said, the Room 237 is a phenomenal little documentary that was put together. And I just like how simple everything looks in this movie. It's nothing too much going on in the background. It's just very simple. It makes it more realistic. It just lets you just be able to pay attention to the characters and not get distracted by things in the background and stuff. And it's pretty great. I really like how layered it is, but it's just very simple.
Couldn't agree more. Same with you, Q, in regards to just the appreciation of Kubrick and his handprint and his sensibilities to this film, man.
Oh yeah. Like I was saying, I just love, sometimes just looking at the stuff in the background and the characters. I'm paying attention to the characters, but Perp said, it's still so simple and everything's so simple, but you're still intrigued at what are these pictures going up on the wall? What why are they under the stairs, stacked like this? It's not creepy or anything, but it's just kind of intrigues me. Look at this huge pantry with with all this, and I feel small in this big place, and then as the film progresses, you feel even smaller and even more isolated. While this place is so big, this place is a whole contained unit in itself. You know what I'm saying? What characters into it, and then of course, by the end of this movie, I'm not gonna spoil it. It's you feel way more isolated and trapped, and Kubrick captures that by just simple things like riding the big wheel on that wood floor into the carpet. Just the sound design and everything was just masterful work people were doing back here in I think it was like early 80s. I didn't even know about the Shining, that his set burned down and he had to use Empire Strike Back set.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or vice versa. Yeah. He almost shut down Empire Strikes Back trying to finish The Shining. So yeah, it was crazy, man. Yeah, two masterful directors doing their thing. I love Kubrick, and this is my favorite film of his. It's just, I don't know, highly intriguing. I didn't understand it too much as a kid, but now I truly appreciate it. I got that 4K box set. I love this film.
Definitely.
Got to plug the 4K box set.
Yeah.
That 4K one. I didn't mean box set, just the yellow ones.
Nice. Same question for you, Mr. Death Breath, in regards to just Kubrick and his style and kind of again, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary, and David brought it up, obviously the creator of the book, which came out in 1977, The Shining. I wasn't a big fan of it, but what is kind of your appreciation for what Kubrick was able to do with this film, again, celebrating its 40th anniversary?
Okay, so I'm going to be really honest. The only other Kubrick film I've seen was Full Metal Jacket, and that was a long time ago, so I never really studied what he's done. From the directing standpoint, but I can tell you things I do like, and I love that he created tension, and I love how everything always has either grays or dull blues throughout the film as Jack starts ascending into madness. So I like what I see, but as far as that, I can't say too much because I just I never really did an in-depth fine-tooth comb viewing of his films like I've done with other people. So I like this movie, and it's done well, and it's really pretty to look at. So
definitely couldn't agree more. Same with you. Wrapping up in regards to just your thoughts on this, on Kubrick as a director, and also his imprint on this film, HorrorMania.
I do like him as a director a lot. Like I said, A Clockwork Orange is still one of my favorite movies ever. For me, the standout for him though is just how things are shot visually and color palettes. Like just the shot alone, everything's on blue tone, but then you have the red accent on his jacket, or this movie again, it's very cool tone colors, but we remember the carpet as orange, or the elevator scene with the blood red. So I think for me, it's just the contrast and just how it looks in general. It's great.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree. And someone just mentioned in the chat, Kubrick started his career off as a photographer in his shows and his films. His movies are considered standalone and source material. So yes, Kubrick is one of those people that I think of Denis Villeneuve, Christopher Nolan, Jennifer Kent, Catherine Bigelow, all these great auteur, Jordan Peele. All these auteur directors, they have taken something from Kubrick, and there's definitely some influence in the industry today. So he's definitely one of the best to ever do it. And I think this is definitely one of my, just like Mr. Death Breath, I've only seen maybe 3 or 4 of his films, but I always thought that he did is one thing, regardless of your opinion on the film, I think that he's definitely a great filmmaker. He's a masterful filmmaker. So definitely one of the best to do it.
Funny story is we were talking about colors and color palettes, the blues to the red. I actually about during this quarantine about 3 weeks ago painted my kitchen the same color burgundy as it is in the ballroom when he asked for a drink. I did it on purpose. I used the red. I used the exact same color, the red and the gray, because I'm the same. So yeah. So
hey man, you gotta
you should DM me a picture of that. I want to see that.
You gotta share it, bro. It could be after the stream, during the stream, whatever. We gotta see that now, man.
Yeah. I always thought the color looked good in my mind. I'm like, I think that look good in the kitchen.
So what you're telling me is, I know you got kids. They're scared to go to get a midnight snack at night, right?
Yeah. Well, they haven't seen this movie, so they just think it's burgundy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, look at those shots, man. With the window.
Yeah, it's as someone had mentioned, I believe it was Perk or Dave, when you guys were regarding this big hotel, you feel the walls kind of caving in, right? You're seeing things getting, and someone, Q brought it up when he got on the stream, just like it's funny how now we're all in self-isolation and how that plays into it. But yeah, as you guys have mentioned, this is one of those more iconic shots, seeing Danny on his little bike here going across the hotel. It's just one of those iconic shots that you always remember.
The sound design is amazing. Like you just hear it's like Big Wheel just going. It's just the tension.
Yeah.
That's that old school Big Wheel we used to have. I
Yeah.
used to have that boy.
We need an adult version of that. That'd be cool. I'd rock that.
Yeah, a little segue and turn into a big wheel. But again, to me, that shot goes back to, like I said, with the opening shot. I just always envision. Obviously, there's a camera there, but I always envision it like the spirits or the ghosts just following Danny, just following him up and down the hall. So there's just so many great shots in this film, and just such fascinated by the filmmaking aspect of this. So what I wanted to do with these kind of questions and games for y'all, and again, just a quick little reminder for all those, again, that are at home in the chat, just to kind of get you guys up to speed. Let me pull up the clock here. Give me a second. We are 35 minutes into the film. So again, anyone that's joining the chat, if you can cue it up, we're 36 minutes into the film, so you guys can know where we're at. But we're 30 minutes in. I'm going to be kind of breaking this down into 30-minute intervals in regards to just questions and games. So there's a particular game I want to play with, a couple games I want to, and topics I want to bring up to you guys. So the first one here, being that we're watching a Stephen King book, as well as a Stephen King book based on his book. So I want to play this game that I titled the This or That Stephen King Edition. So essentially, what this is going to be is whether it be a sequel of a film, and the original versus sequel, remake, Netflix films. I just want to get you guys' thoughts on these movies. Which one do you like more? Which one do you despise? And just kind of having a fun time with that. So I'm going to bring up a couple movies and get you guys' thoughts on them. So let me just bring this up here. And again, we'll do roundtable style, starting off with David playing the This or That game, Stephen King edition. So starting off, David, we got This or That Stephen King edition.
Oh my God!
Pet Cemetery original versus.
Come on, guys! Come on.
Very clever.
The original, hands down. The original. I'm sorry, I got to do it. Yeah.
Any reasons why you want to?
I don't know. I think we had gone over this too back when I had watched it. Yeah, yeah. You said you didn't like that one. I understand. Like some of the characters are a little. I mean, you get that classic no scene, right? That everyone always memes, right? You can't beat that. Some of the acting was a little bit over the top. I really like the little kid actor. Phenomenal. I mean, he grew up to do so much more work, right? He was like in Spawn and all these like little like roles and stuff. And what was he in? Kindergarten Cop or something? Or one of those
Nico Hughes is his name.
Yeah. So
New Nightmare. Your boy.
That's right. Exactly. So I think I just preferred that, even though I love John Lithgow and like the remake, and I hated the ending of the remake. I hated it so much. So it left a sour taste in my mouth. For some reason, I just got more creepier vibes from the Pet Cemetery, the original one from Stephen King. Yeah,
Zelda was terrifying in 1989. Not many stuff scare me, but Zelda scared the crap out of me for some reason.
Oh my gosh, Zelda is everything in that movie.
No doubt.
That pea soup on the side of mouth, son. No.
Hey, that's true.
Same with you, Perk, man. What you got here, man? This or that between the original Pet Cemetery and the sequel?
Talk about disappointment. Like when you first heard like, oh, they're remaking Pet Cemetery, I was like, I got kind of excited, but then when you saw that they pretty much spoiled the whole movie in the first trailer, and you went to go see the movie, it's just completely disappointment. And the remake of this movie is complete trash. The original all the way. That's who I choose. Don't even waste your time with the remake. Just watch the original. And watch Pet Cemetery too.
Cool. So we got two for the original. Is anyone going to shake it up? Is anyone going to shake it up? Next person, I believe, on my side is Horror Mania. Which one do you have here in regards to the OG versus the last year's remake?
So I think the OG like wins by a mile, but I definitely agree this movie was not marketed well at all. They do give away all the twists and all the things that made it an original take on it. It gave everything away in the trailer, and that ending was just horrible, and I never want to rewatch it because of that ending. It was not rewarding at all. It made no sense for it to end like that. No.
3 for 3. So same with you. You're going to keep this streak going, Mr. Death Breath, or are you going to shake things up, my friend? Which one you got?
All right, so I actually had the pleasure of interviewing Nico Hughes, who plays the little boy Gage.
Oh,
Nice.
And I was telling him he did such a great job. I'm like, yeah, it's a good thing of the new movie. I'm like, it was absolutely terrible. So yeah, I think it's awful. I mean, there is some weird scenes, like to echo to what David was saying. Like the dad, he does some weird stuff. When he's digging up his son, he makes a face like this, like kind of like a really pervy face. He's trying to grave rob. It's like, why did you make that face? And you know, John Lithgow's an amazing actor. Watch him in Dexter as the villain of season 4, amazing. But he's no Frank Wynn.
Yes.
I mean, Sometimes Dead is better is not as good as Sometimes Dead is better. You know what I mean? And then of course you get rid of Zelda. Like, dude, why would you get rid of Zelda? That was the scariest part. And then, of course, Pascal was a guiding force trying to help the mom to stop the dad from doing stupid nonsense, right? But Pascal was just here to, like, be Pascal, but not. He was scenery, right? And then, you know what gets me? The ending. It literally pisses me off. It's like they're going to turn into the zombie family and start clapping fingers. Da-da-da-da. What the hell's that? Like, what do they do? Adopt the kid, raise him, and have him be weird? And then, last thing before I completely shut up here, okay?
No,
it's like,
man.
There's that scene that kills me. It's like when the girl starts becoming a zombie in the remake. It's like I feel like the director's like, "Hey, little girl." She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do your best zombie voice." And she's like, "Okay, daddy." I'm like, "What the? Seriously, dude? Like, this was so bad." It was like, I think this made one of the worst films of 2000 and whatever year it came out, because I always do a roundup of the best and the worst. And I'm pretty sure it was on the list because it was awful. Like, it shouldn't have been made. It shouldn't be watched. It was just a bad movie. Period. It was lazy and bad. So yeah, the original all the way.
There you go, Mr. Death Breath. He loves the sequel or the remake. It was one of his best films last year.
No, he hates the sequel. He hates the remake.
Just messing with you. Just messing with you. Now, Q, man, what you got, man? It sounds like it's a pretty sweep on this one. But hey, do you like it?
The remake is trash, son. Yeah, of course it is. Okay, first of all, production value, they go dig up stuff in the grave, and you can literally hear the smoke machine running. Like, what is this? It's like Halloween USA. What's going on? You know, like on the moors, it looks so bad. Like, nothing's believable. Nothing's really scary in this movie. It's trash. And then I love John Lithgow, but I think the Herman Monster was better in the first one. You know, don't go up there. There's spirits up there now. You know, I love Hungry Monster in the first one, and Zelda was the scariest thing in the movie. And then you change her, they put some CG on her, it just didn't work. Whoever that actress who played in the first one, she was like, I think it was a he, or naturally.
It was a guy that played Zelda.
Yeah, and put that makeup on. It was creepy, and you just heard the sound. I mean,
Rachel.
Oh yeah, the original all the way. The second one is just straight trash. I think I seen it in the Walmart bin today when I went. Yep, it's there. $3.
Nice.
$3.
Oh, you're too funny, man.
So I think that was a pretty, and then I guess just to throw in my 2 cents, I'm right there with you guys. I wasn't a big. I will say though, I feel so bad for the actor. What's his name? Jason Clarke. He finds himself in that film, the
Terminator.
remake. I'm gonna say that in Terminator. He always, I don't know who his agent is, but he needs to fire him. But there was some good elements, and again, HorrorMania brought it up in regards to the marketing. They gave away everything. You know, it was actually a pretty interesting twist. If they would have never showed us that it was the girl that, you know, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, they unfortunately it didn't play out that well, and it's unfortunate because, you know, you think with some of these remakes they now have the, you know, the technology, the different directors getting attached to the projects, and you hope that they make it real better. But yeah, the original takes it by a landslide, in my opinion. And we got some people too in the chat. Looks like a lot of people agree with us.
The book's amazing. I read it. I love it.
Yeah, the effects in the 1989 one were so good. Like when the mom came back at the end, her eyeball fell out and she was like leaking on the floor.
My gosh.
Crazy stuff.
It's
oozing out of her eye.
It's the practical effects.
Yeah, the practical effects was on point in the first one. Church was scarier, even though I didn't mind the church in the second one, but the first church was actually scary.
He's a cute cat, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah. It was a cute cat.
That was probably the best character of the movie, right? The cat.
Damn straight.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He had an Instagram too.
Yeah.
My cat looks like church.
So on to our next one here, and like I said, that was pretty a landslide and a win for this one. So this one, we know that Netflix has adapted some of the adaptations from his books to the small screen. So we got some films in the last couple of years that have hit Netflix. I don't know if you guys have seen all these films, but let me know what you guys think about this one in regards to this or that. Which one is your favorite Stephen King adaptation on Netflix with these films on the screen now?
Ooh.
Oh wow.
So you got 1922, Gerald's Game, and In the Tall Grass. So first, before we start with David, have you guys all just did you say yes or no? Have you guys all seen these films by chance on Netflix?
Yeah, I have.
I haven't seen In the Tall Grass.
It's all good. Gotcha. HorrorMania, did you see them all?
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen all 3.
And then
Damn,
David.
then I got to pass then because I haven't seen any of these.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
definitely, we'll start with Perk, but I'll give you my thoughts, David, on which one I would prefer. But starting with Perk, man, which one of these three would stood out to you?
Man, these are all weird, really weird films, but they're all really, really cool at the same time. They all have interesting premises. I would have to probably go Into the Tall Grass just because of just because of the concept of it. It's kind of frightening. Like you just walk into this whole thing of grass and you just end up disappearing or going into a different reality or something like that. Like it's trippy. It's trippy. But my second would probably be Gerald's Game.
Okay, so we got Perk. So we got one for In the Tall Grass, HorrorMania. In regards to your personal favorite, which one did stood out to you in regards to the best adaptation on Netflix?
This one for me is so easy. Gerald's Game was by far my favorite from all three of them. 1922, I actually fell asleep watching, so I don't know. But Gerald's Game, yeah, Gerald's Game was so good. I actually landed in my year's favorites too. So In the Tall Grass, I thought was really good too. It just wasn't as memorable for me. But that one scene in Gerald's Game, which I won't spoil it, scarred my brain forever.
Oh my goodness!
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, not gonna talk about it, but it was really good. I think Gerald's Game for sure is the winner for me here.
Awesome, and continuing that trend, who do you have on this one, Mr. Death?
It's a kind of a toss-up between 1922 and Gerald's Game because I feel like they both feel like they should be short stories because they're both interesting, but they don't seem interesting enough to warrant a full-length film.
Gotcha.
Like Gerald's Game was interesting and I enjoyed it, and 1922 felt more like a cautionary tale, you know. But I like them both. But I mean, I didn't like Into the Tall Grass, so I mean, really, like, let's just say these movies didn't exist. I don't think I'd really bat an eye. So I guess I just say I'm indifferent, you know.
Love it
because they were enjoyable but easily forgotten.
Right. No, I hear you. I agree with you, especially on, and I'll get to mine. But Q, out of these three, man, did one speak to you more? Is one your favorite out of these three on for Netflix for this or that?
Yeah. So I didn't see In the Tall Grass out of 1922 and Gerald's Game. I'm gonna have to go with Gerald's Game. I think it was a little bit. I like the acting better in Gerald's Game. I love Thomas Jane though. I think he's a
amazing actor.
Guy. Yeah, he's an amazing actor, and I think he carried 1922. But the direction and the pacing was better in Gerald's Game, and like there's a point that I thought was a dream sequence, and then like, oh, okay, that's all right, then that's weird as hell. So like, I really like that part. So like that kind of blew me away a little bit, and as a storytelling aspect. But so out of these, I'm going with Gerald's Game was my favorite. 1922 was the pacing was a little slow, but it was enjoyable though. It was enjoyable. Not the best thing, but I'm going with Gerald's Game because that one was a little freaky.
Yeah, I mean, to same with Q and HorrorMania. My favorite, and I think it's not even close to be honest with you guys. Me personally, I think Gerald Games is such a more superior film. Again, this is another Mike Flanagan film. Again, Mike Flanagan. He's one of my favorite directors, again, going back to his filmography, the Haunting on Hill House, he directed Dr. Sleep, he directed Gerald's Game. And again, that scene, and David, I know you haven't seen the film yet, but I'll just say the poster gives you a hint of what we're kind of talking about. There's certain things that get under my skin, literally speaking in this particular sense. And that really got that's stuck in my head. And I won't spoil it for you, David, but I definitely recommend that. I wasn't a big fan of Into the Tall Grass. I like Patrick Wilson. I'm a big fan of Patrick Wilson. I love when he pops up in horror, whether it be Insidious or The Conjuring universe. I think he's a great actor, but I wasn't a big fan of Into the Tall Grass. And in 1922, Thomas Jane, great director. I love his kind of, his doing his impression of Billy Bob Thornton in Switchblade.
That's right. Good point. Didn't touch that.
In the relationship between him and his wife and his son, I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of that. But I think Gerald's Game was just such a fantastic film. So David, man, you got some stuff maybe to watch this weekend, man. You and the missus can watch one of these films.
Memorial Day weekend. Hey, this is a perfect trio right here, huh?
Yes, sir.
And thanks, Dave, for tell me to watch Train to Busan.
Oh yeah, what'd you think, man? You liked it?
I watched that around 1:00 in the morning last night. Messed my girlfriend's mind up. She was crying.
That's a good one. Train to Busan.
Oh yeah,
it was great. It was great.
I got another
excellent
topic to talk about later on the stream in regards to just some of my
Twins.
favorite horror films in the past decade. But Train to Busan is definitely one of those, and can't wait for Train to Peninsula later this year.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
Train to Busan.
Yep. So yeah,
Say it like
now,
a white American.
yeah. So very, as you guys have mentioned, very iconic scene here. We're getting young Danny looking at the twins. And let me, I mean, just right quick, David, in roundtable
Jesus.
style. If you guys saw these little girls in the hallway, what's your first move?
I'd run backwards.
My ass is running, bro. My ass is running.
I'm
There's no
like, Mom,
thought.
Dad, we out. We got
Time
to
to
do.
go.
Yeah, I'm out, bro. I'm not staying there covering my eyes. I'm running. I'm
Now,
gonna leave my bike there and everything.
HorrorMania, I know you have your own blog and you write on a website. Would you stay just to write it and have a story to go to story?
Hell no. I'm gonna run far away from there. No thanks.
Q, I know you love some good horror, man. Are you playing hopscotch with the twins, or what we doing, man?
Oh man, no. If I see them twins, man, I'm out, dog. No problem. I'm just hoping Chris Hansen come out and stop it. Like, have a seat, you know. You don't need to talk to these little girls because they're weird, you know. Yeah, no, not messing with them.
Perk, what you got, man? You hanging out with the twins, my friend?
No, absolutely not. Like any little kid in the horror movies, do not trust them. They are just always suspect. And if I'm stuck, if I'm the only one in a motel, hotel, or whatever Holiday Inn or whatever, you know, a creepy kid just there, just in the hallway, I'm like, yeah, it's time to check out.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm not messing around.
Death breath. All right, what's up, man? Are you hanging out with No one wants to hang out with these twins, man.
There's
What
parts
about
of my
you?
house that I don't even go to at night because it creeps me out and I think I've seen things. So I would just leave that place and not be there and just get the hell out of there. So, yeah, like no way.
You guys couldn't agree more. So last one on our this or that Stephen King edition. I don't know. I'm very interested to know what you guys thought about this particular sequel, which one you prefer. The first one did a crazy amount of money at the box office. What do you guys have with this one here? And this is not the TV movie, the theatrical movie. So we got 2017's It Chapter 1, which blew the doors off the box office. Stranger Things type of vibes, all that fun stuff. Stand By Me. And then just last year, we had the sequel, which still did well, but nowhere close as well in the box office. And I think critically didn't do as well as the first one. So starting off with you, David, It Chapter 1 versus It Chapter 2.
Oh, so you're asking me the Skarsgård, not the original, the Tim Curry one?
Yep.
Okay.
Anyways,
Jeez, man. I really loved both these movies, too. Damn. I think I'm gonna have to go back. Damn, I don't know.
Bro,
you got me right here.
Yeah.
The second one was cool because I really did like, you know, the Losers Club, but I mean, we saw so much of them in the second one as well with all the flashbacks. But I love seeing them grown up.
Yeah.
But I think overall, I think I'm gonna have to go with the original. The factor of being a kid and seeing some terrifying stuff that maybe only you and your friends can hold that secret to.
Yeah.
It's something about the original. That's not the original, but I mean, you know what I mean. That first one. That is a little better, I think, than It Chapter 2. So I'm gonna go with the first It.
First one, 2017. Awesome.
Yes.
Mark, what about you, my friend? 2017's It. The follow up.
I got to go with 2017 based off of just, you know, the kid cast just killed it. They just really. It is kind of ironic how like they kind of set the bar for the second one.
Right.
And, you know, you had all that like, you know, some well-known actors playing their adult versions. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think for it to be gone for so long, and then we got a remake, and we're gonna get something, I guess, closer to the source materials, or however you want to put it. I think it just did its job, and you know, the box office numbers will show you that.
Yeah.
And you know, the second one was cool. They definitely had some interesting things in it, but I think they could have cut some things out of that movie to kind of make it more cohesive a little bit, because sometimes it kind of dragged at moments, but it was still good. I still like the second one. A lot of people think it's trash, but I wouldn't go as far as say that. But yeah, I have to go with 2017 all day.
So we got 2 for 2. Are we going to switch it up with who do you have HorrorMania in regards to the 2017 versus last year's It?
So I'll be honest, I was very disappointed in chapter 2. I
Mhm.
love chapter 1 so much. I saw it in
Yeah.
theaters twice. I rarely do that, but I saw
Mhm.
it twice and I just loved it so much. I thought the kids did a great job.
Yeah.
The story was paced so perfectly. I was never once bored watching it, even though it's a long movie. But the chapter 2, I don't know. I felt like we needed more Pennywise in there, and
Mhm.
it's just so CG heavy, and I don't know. Maybe the bar was set so high that I was expecting more out of it, but I don't know. I was a little disappointed in chapter 2. So chapter 1 for sure for me.
No, I think you're not the only one I've heard say that, and I'll get to mine when we get there. But I think there's a lot of people that have that same sentiment as you do in regards to just kind of being let down a little bit, and even Perk said it. Those kids, they did such a great job, and yeah, I
They did.
love James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain and everyone they brought on. But those kids, that chemistry was so great. But Mr. Death Breath, who you got, man, in regards to the 2017 It versus Chapter?
Okay, before we begin, I don't know if you could tell, but I have both Pennywises on my arm.
Hold on,
So I have Bill
move this banner
Skarsgård
down.
and Tim Curry.
Oh, nice.
Hold on, let me bring you up here. You want to go ahead and show it to the camera again?
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Nice.
Oh, that's
That's
dope.
awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so that being said, I loved the first half, but the second half, I think I hate it more than Pet Sematary, the remake. I
Oh
think
my
that,
God.
and let me explain why. I'm not just going to say it sucks why. I'll give you legitimate reasons, okay?
the stage
I don't
is
bash
yours.
just to bash.
Yeah.
All right. So it's like, how do you tell a cohesive story when you keep going to the past, which is something that bothered me. All they had to do was get the totems and kill Pennywise, but they had to keep going to the past, which bugged me, okay? And I understand in the book that Pennywise takes on forms, but he was barely in the film. And the scenes that he was in the film, he did a fantastic job. But then what bothered me was the random humor, like Eddie Kasprak going into the basement and then getting vomited on with that weird song playing for an instant. Like, it just didn't work. It felt drawn out, and it just felt long, and it just, I don't know. I really hated the movie, like, so much. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually prefer the second half of the miniseries to the remake second half. Because even though it ends up being a giant spider with rock beat down, at least it had a better flow to it, and it actually fit. So 100% the 2017, and the 2017 actually trumps the original. Because I mean, what Tim Curry did was fantastic, but what Bill Skarsgård did, he was something else. He wasn't an actor in makeup. He was a thing that was held on set against his will to make this movie. So
Well
I mean,
said.
yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on those comments you just made in regards to some of the comedy, and it was, I haven't watched, and I'll get to my point in a little bit. I'll let Q go ahead and dive into it, man. 2017 versus 2019, man. Which one did you prefer more, and which one do you have for this or that Stephen King edition?
Yeah, that's easy. Of course, it's 2017. It's the far superior film. It goes like this. Like I think Pennywise and the whole It thing works better with children. It's more frightening when the children are involved. And like Perp said, that cast that they had for the children being there the entire runtime worked for the movie. It helped the pacing even when Skarsgård wasn't around. Now, like you said, the second one as adults is just not, it's scary for some reason. The tension's not there, and it dragged. I think the second one dragged tremendously, and it kind of bored me at times. I didn't hate the movie as well, but I just thought it was a big letdown from the first from the 2017, and Skarsgård did such a amazing job. You can put the first one up as one of maybe one of the best horror movies of the decade, I think. So definitely 2017 over the second one.
Yeah, no, I'm right there. David, I know that you love both, man, and it was a tough one for you, but I appreciate you letting us know that you love the second one, man. But I'm pretty much in the same boat as everyone else. I didn't hate the film by any means, but I think that there was just the magic, and Q couldn't have said it better. I think stories like that, I'm always a sucker for coming of age stories, and also I love when kids are put in like adult situations, and especially dealing with a possessed, demon like Pennywise. So I thought that the whole idea of them overcoming that demon was just this fit better. And again, the chemistry between that first cast and into the second one, I just thought was just much better. But again, I like what Andy Muschietti did. It definitely, I prefer both of these films more than I do the TV series or the TV movie, I should say. But I got to go with 2017 It on this one as well. But it'll be interesting. I don't know what they're going to do. Obviously, these movies made so much money. And I don't know if you guys remember, but there was speculation that we might get another, not even an It movie, but just like a Pennywise spinoff to kind of show you his origins. And again, because I think Bill Skarsgård, I mean, if you have that guy given everything, every ounce of he has as an actor, and it's so crazy because I don't know if you guys ever watched, it was like this werewolf show on Netflix, Hargrove or something of that nature. That was Hemlock Grove. and that was my first time being exposed to Bill Skarsgård. So when I heard he was casting the role, I'm like, oh, this is going to be terrible. But he blew me away in regards to his performance. So I got to go with It Chapter 1 on this one, guys. And I think the people in the chat have some. Okay, so we got It Chapter 2 better than the first. There you go. Is David? Is that your second account?
Hey, no.
Hey,
They're
Judge
not,
Dredd.
they're not coming to my defense, man. I'm still saying Chapter 1, but
No, I'm joking. No, I know United. He's a big follower on here. So no, It Chapter 2. That's awesome. I'm glad you love it because I know, like I said, I know a lot of people really enjoyed it. Some people really don't, but we got some other people saying that they loved the first one, didn't like It Chapter 2. It was great. Chapter 2 was good, not great. I definitely kind of agree with that. The kids made the movie, definitely. It Chapter wasn't scary, and that's a question I can't wait till we get to this topic in regards to, I always say in most of my reviews when it comes to horror movies and comedies, they're so subjective. What scares me might not scare you, and vice versa. So I can't wait till we get into that topic in regards to what scares you guys and what gets under your skin. So, we got a lot of people, kind of going with the. Both weren't scary. So I can't wait till we get into that topic there. So I thought this was my last one, but apparently I had a couple more on the palette here. But before we even bring up the next film on the this or that, again, for everyone at home that's just tuning in so you guys can know where we're at. We are, and I'll bring it up here in a second. We just hit the hour mark.
this
right
is a pivotal
now.
scene too. I
Yeah,
think.
let's say this is a really big scene. Things are kind of caving in on Jack there, and he's kind of losing his mind a little bit. And we see, Danny walking up to him, kind of creepily, and not listening to his mom.
Yeah, because this is when she looks at him and she thinks that he's beating Danny again, and then
yeah.
That drink, huh?
Press goes out the window once again for Jack, you know what I'm saying? So, and Jack has to defend himself, and his mind's already like warping at this time, right?
Yeah.
We're already an hour into the movie, so it's like and you have to also realize too. And Wendy was a character that I really did not like. She kind of like grew on me after a while because her and Jack are polar opposites completely.
Yeah.
So, but the motherly instinct kicks in, and then when she's swinging that bat or whatever it was on the staircase, man, she had me for sure.
So badass. Such
Yeah.
an empowering scene for her. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Going crazy.
I did like that reverse scene though on the staircase from Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
that
She's
was
like,
cool, yeah.
"Oh, you smell so," and they start like tearing apart, her or whatever. I don't want to say too much because the movie's too good, but you get my point.
Yeah, no, the acting right now by Jack Nicholson. There's so many memes in regards to just he's the guy's. We've all been there before, just like I don't know what.
When I'm editing a video and actually delete everything I did, that's how I react.
That's
I
the
just
face,
kind of
right?
just like, nah!
That's funny.
Did that last week. It really sucked. So
Oh, that's the worst. That
I
is
was
the
pissed for an
worst.
hour.
So
real quick
yeah,
for
go
the
ahead,
chat,
yeah.
guys. Sorry, before you jump into yours.
No, go right ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you guys have been noticing, but what do you think is the true nature? I don't know if it's been explained at all of the long transitions for this movie for each scene. What do you guys think that he did that? Stanley did that?
Yeah, start off with PURP, man. What you think about what David just said?
Like the fade out from scene to scene, or fade in, I guess.
I don't know. I think it just adds to just the whole atmosphere that he's building up for this whole entire film. Like we're finally you're starting to really see him. This starts with him like descending into madness, and I guess that's the whole fading away kind of like is kind of teasing that, and it just it just lets you know the pace is about to pick up. I guess yeah, that's just like my little thoughts on it. It's interesting though. That is interesting.
Yeah, I've never seen a movie that had him so drawn out. The transitions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Q? In regards to David's question, kind of the thoughts on the the different editing and the longer takes and things like that.
Yeah, I'm agree with Perp here. I think it's just him walking the hallways, getting more pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Building up. You know what I'm saying? Getting mad and he's trying to calm down, trying to walk it off. But of course, he comes here and then something changes his mind. So I think that's the build up. Like, Yeah. And I think it works for the film, building his character to maybe what he might become.
No, well said. And Mr. Breath, in regards to, even before you answer David's question, just to kind of add on to that, and then hearing your thoughts on that. But perception in regards to what Jack is actually seeing versus what might not actually be there. Especially in this scene here when he sees, he's starting to talk to the bartender. But going back to David's question, man, what did you think about the kind of the long takes and everything that Kubrick did in regards to the filmmaking aspect?
I do want to say, were you asking if he's really seeing what he's seeing?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that, and then going into David's question. Yeah.
Okay, to answer the question you added on, I want to say that he is seeing what he's seeing, because I mean they do establish later on that there's actual forces there. Mm-hmm. So maybe they're presenting themselves to him because he's more susceptible to it. But he really is seeing what he's seeing. Of course, it's on like a metaphysical level, not like on an actual tangible level. Right, but he is seeing it very much. Now, if he's really getting drunk, is that psychosemantic? I don't know. But he is seeing these things, and they're really there. As for the long hallway takes, I just take it as like us going down the rabbit hole. Like, notice the takes are longer when he's walking around, right? So it seems more like, it's his descent into madness, and everything's becoming strange and elongated because of the fact that we're on this journey with him. Mm-hmm. So we're basically going down the tube with him mentally. That's how I took it.
Well said. And then HorrorMania.
I think it's just a style thing, in my opinion. I think that's a very Kubrick thing to do between the shots. But I never really thought into it. But those are some good points you guys are making.
Yeah. No, that was a great question, David. Yeah, I think kind of I echo in what you guys are saying in regards to kind of the walls caving in, and just where his mindset is, and just like Mr. Breath was saying in regards to we're diving into the madness, and kind of descending into the madness. So definitely. But again, and it is a little bit of Kubrick style as well. Just that thing going back being such a or
Thor says hi.
This is the point of the movie.
Hey. Did you say his name Thor?
Yeah, his name is Thor.
That's hilarious. My dog's name is Thor.
Is he orange too?
That's the third point of the movie. That's the madness.
Is he orange also?
That's it.
No, I have a dog, a Pomeranian Pekingese, little black and white. Yeah, his name's Thor. And he
Thor.
Yeah,
hi, handsome.
So we are. So again, great question, David. I appreciate you posing that to the panel, man, and really well said by you guys. But going into our next one here in regards to this or that. This might be a tough one, but I would love to know what you guys are thinking regarding this particular film. Which one did you prefer more? One's obviously a classic, and we may be watching it right now, but I would love to know what you guys have thoughts on these two films and just personal preference.
I think he's going right now. Magnificent. After he took that shot.
Oh man. You gotta do this stuff.
Yeah, so David,
that's tough.
David, starting with you, my friend. I mean, obviously, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of The Shining. It goes down in history as one of the best horror films, one of the best films just in general. But it's really unfortunate that Dr. Sleep didn't do that well at the box office. But I think someone brought it up earlier, this is one of the best sequels that you can, because it was so much on Mike Flanagan's plate to not only do a sequel to a film that wasn't liked by a director, but also pay homage to the book, make it a sequel to the book, making a sequel to the film. It was a lot that Mike Flanagan had to do. So, David, which one did you prefer, my friend?
Yeah, so I mean, before I get into all that, I mean, we get to see older Danny, right? And what a wreck he is. I mean, his life is shit, basically. I mean, he's chosen to kind of make it that way, but I mean, he's gone through so much, right? And I love to see the flashbacks. We get to see Halloran. He's played by another character, but or another actor. But I love that they kind of as well as Wendy, we get to see like other, these other actors from the first one or thrown into this sequel. So they really try to stay true to this lore. And I really like seeing kind of him grow from being a victim of this to helping out other victims or potential victims, the kids and stuff like that, of the sequels of the second part. So it sucks to choose because this one kind of sets the pace. The second one leads up to what the world could be. But I think overall, I'm going to have to go with this one that we're watching now, The Shining, as an ultimate package. Yeah. But Dr. Sleep is just like, man, a sliver of like second place. You know what I mean? Like right there. So the original.
Yeah, no, well said, man. I think even, again, going back to what Mike Flanagan had on his plate, some may say that, he definitely kind of picked up the pieces from Danny. Because I haven't read the book, but I think the people I know that read the book, Danny had a little bit more to do in the book than what he did in this particular film. So like David said, they definitely kind of dove deeper into that character. And of course, Ewan McGregor, fantastic actor, right? He's such a great actor.
Did really well in that role.
And even that little girl, I'm not sometimes it's hit or miss with kid actors, but the girl that played Kadabra did such a fantastic job. And also little man, Jacob Tremblay, who I did not know was in the film. one of the most interesting scenes last year. But going on to Perk Minded, man, the OG, the classic 1980 film that we're watching and celebrating the 4th anniversary versus Mike Flanagan's Dr. Sleep from last year.
I would have to say with Dr. Sleep, I think it's a little bit too early for Dr. Sleep because it's true. It's still relatively like fresh in people's mind. Mm-hmm. So maybe like 10 years down the line, we could probably do this comparison, but I would have to go off with the first one. Mm-hmm. But I've seen a lot of people I've talked to a lot of people that say that, they didn't like The Shining, but they like this movie, the Dr. Sleep movie, because that really dives more into what The Shining actually is. And I think The Shining makes Dr. Sleep makes the original even more, like, I think they complement each other really well, just based off of that, because you can't have one without the other now. Right. But I would have to go with the first one. That's not to say that the second one's bad at all, because I think the second one is phenomenal and has a little bit more action. It's a little bit it's another long film like the Shining was, but I think it's paced a little bit better. The second is paced a little bit better, but the first one all day.
Well said, man. Well said. Going on to HorrorMania in regards to again, I totally agree with what Perk's saying. Obviously, you're talking about a film. It's been around for 40 years, and this one's just coming out a year. But it speaks a lot to what Dr. Sleep was able to do in regards to the overall film. But which one did you prefer more? Which one do you think is maybe a better package of displaying The Shining and the characters and things like that?
So this is probably unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna go with Dr. Sleep.
Nice.
I just loved it. I just loved it so much. Not to say The Shining is a bad movie. It's not. It's great. It's the way it's shot, the acting, just again the overall look of it. It's amazing. But something about Dr. Sleep just managed to just have me in the movie. I don't know. I was just so drawn into it. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was like a heartbeat sound throughout the movie, and I saw it in Dolby, so there were like speakers into the chairs. I felt like my own heart was like beating out of my chest, just like added to the anxiety of watching it. I don't know, maybe it was just my experience with it was great, but I love Dr. Sleep so much, so I think I'm gonna go with that one.
Nice. I love that we're switching up. I've yet to, and I don't know if you guys have bought the Blu-ray and DVD. I haven't seen Dr. Sleep since seeing it in theaters in November, but I bought the Blu-ray when it came out, and I know it came with like a director's cut. Or like an extended version of it. Have you guys watched the extended version of Dr. Sleep? Is it
not yet?
Okay,
I need to pick it up.
Yeah, I know it had like an additional 20, maybe even 30. I don't know. Maybe
I think it was 30. I think it was 30.
Yeah, I would say maybe even longer than that. So it's almost a 3-hour cut. So I'll definitely have to check that out. But I love that that she put Dr. Sleep over it. I mean, that's awesome. I love it. So yeah, same with you, Mr. Death Breath, in regards to just which one you liked a little bit more. Not saying one's better than the other one, but just preference wise, which film resonated with you more?
So get ready for the shakeup, because I'm going to jump on HorrorMania with this one. I actually liked Dr. Sleep better, but let me tell you what. Okay, there's nothing wrong with The Shining. The Shining's perfect. Yeah. But the reason why I like Dr. Sleep is because we already saw this half of the story, and now we get more insight into what's going on. Like I think you were explaining at Movie Files how you get to find out more about what The Shining. PURP was talking about how you get to find out more about what The Shining is about. Yeah. And I love the whole astral projection sequences and how they really just dive into how deep this is. It isn't just a camera panning through a room, but it's a person literally traveling through, our planet, trying to find the other person where they can connect with them. And they really touch on that. And that's what made me love it. Plus you get the callback at the end when they come back to the, the overlook. And it's just, I mean, it's like an A+ as opposed to an A. You know what I mean? It's like literally a percentage off, but it's just that much better to make me love it that much more. But I don't own it because I haven't purchased it yet. And this seems really unsettling, by the way. I was afraid to go to the bathroom for a while.
Yeah, we got a particular scene here, for the definitely kids at home. Hope the parents are closing the kids' eyes. But no, this is a really iconic scene. And I don't know if you guys remember.
His pervy face.
Yeah. I mean, Jack Nicholson in the faces. But yeah, this was, obviously from Ready Player One. That was a funny scene. But Q reviews, man. Same here, man. What Q? What you got, my friend, in regards to the OG versus the new guard on the block?
I love your colors that you got up here with The Shining and Dr. Sleep, the red and the yellow. I think that kind of represents the movies a little bit. This is what happens when you let the alcoholism and The Shining take over you. You go mad and you want to kind of kill your family, because he already had it and he didn't know. We learned that from Dr. Sleep, which is really good. You're kind of like, oh man, because he already had, his dad had The Shining, so he had The Shining as well. But this one here, The Shining, is just so well craftily directed. Jack Nicholson is immaculate for a horror movie. The soundtrack is better than Dr. Sleep. I mean, even though that one was good, and Mike Flanagan had a whole lot that he did very, 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 very well. You know what I'm saying? But from the performances wise and just the direction wise, how weird The Shining is, because back then we didn't know what was going on. This movie's so weird. Is it ghosts? Is it Shining? I don't know. It's like the original Halloween. We didn't know why Michael Myers was killing people. He just kind of was. He was the shape. And I don't understand this movie and why it is, but I like it because of that. You know what I'm saying? I like it because it's weird. But as we know that, the sins of his father, like from Dr. Sleep, he rectified himself and he didn't go down the alcoholic path and the way to his father was. But as for a horror film, I'm going with The Shining. Oh, is she cute, isn't she? In the sun there? Cute. I'm going to Shining.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to Shining. I love this film all day.
Hey,
Does she have milk on her? That's what it looks like.
Real quick, guys, just by hands up, like who's seen that Room 237 documentary? Have any of you guys seen that at all?
Yeah, I
haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I haven't seen it, no.
Because it kind of. Okay, yeah, I remember Perp. You said that. So they do talk about some of their experiences about watching this in theaters, and it goes back to Mr. Death Breath, where he was saying, I'm sorry, HorrorMania. She was saying that she got such a experience being in theaters, so it hit her a little more, and of course with the Dolby sound and the IMAX, whatever we're watching in, it's gonna have more of an impact. And of course, it's fresh too. So imagine watching The Shining in theaters back in 1980, because these people were talking about that they left the theater like frozen. They didn't know what the hell they watched. So it was almost like they were watching Dr. Sleep for us, but back then, right? So I think that's kind of like where, imagine if it was like a movie theater that showed like The Shining and Dr. Sleep back to back, or like a drive-in or something like that. That would be fantastic.
I would love to see that's a great double feature. I mean, that's a 6-hour journey.
Sign me up.
Sure.
Let's do it.
I think it might put our opinions and perspectives maybe a little different. I don't know. It would be a hard split. I'll just say that.
No, I mean, that's a great point, because I think there's certain films, like there's a lot of classic films that I haven't seen at the theater, but I still appreciated it first time I see it. My favorite horror film of all time is, Halloween 1978. And I got the chance to see that at the theater last October on Halloween, and it just made me love the film even more. But obviously, I would love to have seen the original Star Wars come out, Jaws, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's so many films that I would have loved to have seen at the theater. So that's a great point, David, in regards to it changes your perception of a film when you see, the medium you see it on, your home or at the theater. So that's a really great point. But
I want to add, if I can,
I've seen it at the drive-in.
Go right ahead, man. Oh, for real? That's all. That's
I saw Predator in
the
theaters like a couple summers ago, and that movie is so different when you see it.
Really,
obviously it's Hunter versus Prey, but it's almost like you don't realize the aliens out there when you're watching it in the theater. It was something else completely, and I've seen it countless times. Nice. So further adding to what you're saying, David.
Love that. Yeah.
Did you say when you saw Predator, did it add more to your experience that you liked
it
more?
Because you know how it goes. You know that basically they're being hunted by this thing. But when you watch it in a full screen theater and you hear all the explosions, everything, it's like you kind of forget that you don't exactly know what's hunting them. It's like you only know through osmosis, right? Either you've seen the movie, or you've heard people tell you about it. So it gives you a whole different perspective, and it was almost like watching it again for the first time. And I've seen it countless times prior to that. So it was awesome.
Awesome. So then, just to recap, David, you had the original. Perp, you had the original too, right? Might be muted again, but I think he had the original, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
The original,
the OG. Okay, and then we got the HorrorMania and Mr. Death Breath. You guys had Dr. Sleep, and then Q, you was the OG.
Yeah, I'm OG, but that's just to show you how powerful both films. Here.
Exactly. That's what.
Preach that.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. I know Perk had mentioned, obviously this is a 40-year-old film versus not even a 1-year-old film, but it just goes to the excellence of what Mike Flanagan was able to do, and Ewan McGregor. And I'm to answer this question. I can't say it yet because I've only seen Dr. Sleep for the first time, and I'm definitely going to probably rewatch it I wouldn't be surprised probably tonight or tomorrow. But how can I leave out Rebecca Ferguson as?
Oh, she's so pretty.
As
Gosh.
what was it? What was her name? The Mad Hat, or Cat the Hat, or I can't remember.
Black Hat or Top Hat or something.
Fantastic.
Rose the Hat.
Rose the Hat. Thank you, David. Yeah,
she was a great villain.
A great job. Dude. Like, and again, this is becoming the Mike Flanagan award show. I am just so impressed by him as a director, and I love too that if you guys do follow Mike Flanagan's career, he brings in a lot of his talent. You know, his wife makes an appearance in his films, things like that. So I think Mike Flanagan just has such a great pulse on the film, and I would can't wait to see. Apparently, he wanted to make another film in the same universe, but unfortunately, this film didn't do that well at the box office. That they kind of, who knows, with HBO Max now, that might be an avenue to bring. I think he was going to explore one of the characters, but I can't remember. But I have to go with on this one. I have to go with the original just because I've only seen Dr. Sleep the one time, but it left such a good impression on me. But I'll have to go with the OG on this one. But that's two great films, and there's not a lot of films that the sequel is just as good as the first one. So iconic scene here, guys, with the blood, and as you guys have mentioned, he's now descending into the darkness. No more Jack.
Do you think that he's actually making these this house go, or this Overlook Hotel go even matter the angrier he gets? They
feed, they probably feed it off of the his energy and feed it off of where his mindset is, and they're latched onto him, kind of like a parasite.
And we know more about that now because of Dr. Sleep. At first,
exactly.
When we see it, we like, I don't know what's going on. It's just crazy.
So we got
making more sense.
Jay Cooper. I'm going with The Shining on this one. Going with Dr. Sleep. Okay, awesome. Love both, can't choose. Definitely. I enjoyed Dr. Sleep more, to be honest. Awesome. Dr. Sleep was a really good sequel. I enjoyed The Shining better. It may be the nostalgia thing to it, to be honest. Definitely respect that. I like the little girl who played Kadabra. She did such a great job because, again, kid actors, so much pressure to be so young, to be in a big budget film or to be on any screen, whether it be small screen, a commercial, movie. But I thought she did such a great job. So definitely well said. Definitely. Yeah, you guys had a lot of great. I appreciate that. You guys getting deep into that and making it a tough choice. Dr. Sleep cut will make it to HBO Max. Yeah, I would imagine that'll be where we can find that on that service sooner rather than later. And yeah, just a lot of people. Yeah, I'm surprised a lot of people with Dr. Sleep. That's awesome. We got people showing love to Perk in here. Appreciate you showing love and coming on and showing you representing the people that you guys are familiar with. Again, guys, if you're new to this channel, check out everyone's content on this page. Check out their Instagrams or YouTubes. A lot of great content creators. As you guys can see in these conversations, they all know what they're talking about. They have a lot of great insights. So definitely subscribe to everyone here. Check out their Instagrams or Twitters or YouTubes. A lot of great content. Definitely. All righty. So on to, I think this might be pretty sure this might be the last one on this one. Let me just make sure. Yep. All right. So last one here. This is kind of taking it back. These are two iconic films, some earlier films in the catalog of the Stephen King books turned into movies. So I would love to know what you guys think about this one here. Two iconic characters, starting off with David with the This or That Stephen King edition. Carrie.
Ooh, yes, yes.
Scene right there.
Yeah. Is that from the cover? Is that from the cover? The Misery one?
The posters I found, online.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
That picture. I can feel it.
I can feel it. Dude, both fantastic. I got to go with Carrie, though. Just because, I don't know, just because it hit me, I guess, and the ending itself was insane. I mean, it's more of a supernatural, obviously. Misery is more of like a real life scenario type of thing, going back to the whole claustrophobic type of deal where you have someone that's an obsessed fan. It could happen to anyone, right? I mean, it's probably happening to someone now that we don't even know about. But I got to choose Carrie overall because I don't know, the portrayal of Carrie. I love that. I love the ending of Carrie, and a lot of people don't like it because to me it's just horror movie. Like it leaves off on that horror sequel, right? Even though even though we got those shitty sequels that came out afterwards, like I really enjoyed like the campiness of it, just like, the horrorness of it, I guess. So I'm going to go with Carrie.
Carrie, awesome. And I mean, this was the first, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure because this was 1976, I want to say. I believe this was the first film from a Stephen King book that hit the big screen. And then, of course, Misery came out in 1990. And again, going back to our conversation about Castle Rock, season 2 is literally based on Misery. What was the character's name? Who did Kathy Bates play? What was her character's name in that film? I'm drawing a blank on it.
I forget.
But either way, the storyline, the main storyline in Castle Rock season 2 is following that character. So I definitely recommend. I know you guys said that you guys saw the first season of Castle Rock, but I actually like season 2 more because it was just such a Annie was her name. But yeah, season 2 was based on Annie. But going to Perk Minded, man, who do you got on this one in regards to 1976 Misery or 1990? I'm sorry, Carrie versus Misery.
I would say before I pick, I would say both these films could possibly be remade, and they could work in modern times because they one deals with fandom and the other one kind of deals with like bullying, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So that's interesting, but I would have to pick Carrie just because that whole they're all gonna laugh at you.
We're gonna laugh at you.
It's like who could have thought like a soundbite like that will like would be so terrifying. Like it's crazy.
That's a great point. And I think go ahead. I'm sorry, Park. Go ahead. My apologies.
No, I was just gonna finish off by saying it's just they're both dope movies, especially when Kathy Bates like takes the hammer to it makes my ankles hurt just thinking about it.
This movie is the reason why I can't sleep anywhere without having blankets on my feet. It can be 99 degrees outside and I have to have my feet covered because I don't want to get my ankles broken by someone with a sledgehammer. But have you, I know, Perk, you said that as far as remakes, did you get to see the 2013 remake of Carrie with Chloe Moretz?
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot about that one.
Yeah, I was saying I forgot about it too. I wasn't a big fan of it. But did you like that one?
It was cool.
Yeah. Just wasn't as good as the original. Gotcha.
Mm-mm.
So we got David. You did. Was it yours? Was Carrie as well?
Mine was Carrie too. And on a side note, doesn't this look like a Target bathroom?
Yes, it does. Yeah. Where's the Target icon? Wait, look at a dude cleaning the bathroom. Wait, never mind. There was
a AMC theater by me that actually had their bathroom looked like this. It was like all red and stuff.
That's funny. Yeah. Great call out, David. Great call out. So we got 2 for Carrie. What about you, HorrorMania, in regards to Carrie, 1976 Carrie versus 1990s Misery?
So I think Misery is a better movie. I think it's like acting's great in it. You can't beat the cast in that one. But I think Carrie is more fun to watch. So that's why I'm gonna go with Carrie because I watched it so many times and I can still watch it and enjoy it just as much. Misery's still fun, but it's a little heavier and the story is a little, I don't know, more serious. Carrie deals with like some real issues too, but it's just like David said, it's like campier. It just feels like a pure horror movie and it's just fun to watch. So I'm gonna go with Carrie as well.
Nice, 3 for 3. Well, we're gonna keep that streak going with Mr. Breath in between these two iconic films.
Okay, so I just saw Carrie recently. Like I knew the story through osmosis, but the first time I actually saw it, and it caught me off guard because I'm like, all right, we're gonna watch a horror movie, and then I'm like, what's happening to this girl? And then I kind of got like misty-eyed and emotional.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, this girl's like getting jacked up because she doesn't know anything, and her mom's a jerk. Like, plug it up, and they're throwing tampons. I was like, dude, I really felt for her, right? And then, of course, to echo what David says, it goes straight horror movie at the end. She just starts murking everybody, even the guy that liked her. She just takes him out, takes out the teacher that supported her. And then it's like, and at the end, they almost did that like Friday the 13th scare, right? Like, you remember when he jumps out of the canoe? Well, there's that bit where they filmed it. I guess like Brian De Palma filmed the actors walking backwards to give it that flowy motion, and then Carrie's hand pops out, and that scared me. So I'm gonna give it to Carrie because I didn't expect it to be such an emotional film. I really cared about the character, and we still got that fun slasher element, and it was just really fun. Misery's great, it's well done, but Carrie really touches on like a really emotional level, but then also goes just like straight splatterhouse. So yeah, Carrie completely. And the remake sucked, minus that cool re-envisioning of how she killed everybody, specifically the car, when everyone's like, I'm like, oh, that was cool, But that
that's a good point. The only thing I really remember about the remake was like Chloe Moretz doing like her impression of the Enchantress from Suicide Squad when she was like coming up to the people and like her body was all crippled. That's like the only thing I remember about that film. But Q reviews. What was you gonna say?
I do want to say something before Q goes though. Like I wouldn't mind seeing a remake with what's her face that played young Beverly and
something
Sophia Lewis.
Sophia Lewis. Yeah. Yep.
Sophia,
great cat. Yeah.
like just based off of what I saw in the Netflix series, I'm not okay with this.
I'm not okay
That's a
with
good
it.
series.
Okay.
Yes, that's.
I
a good
would be
series, yeah.
okay with her being cast as a new Carrie.
That's,
You'd be okay
that's
with that?
great. That's a great cast. And I actually liked her, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the film as a whole, but I thought it looked beautiful. I don't know if you guys saw Gretel or Hansel and Gretel. I can't remember the way they switched up the title.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It looked beautiful, but the film, I was just like, this is boring. But either way, that's a great casting there, Perk. I think she would fit perfectly in that role. But yeah, Q, who you got, man? Carrie versus Misery.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed you didn't put Carrie versus Carrie 2: The Rage up here.
Yeah, the sequel of all sequels.
Yeah, Carrie 2: The Rage from
The Rage.
maybe late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, if I had to trick between Carrie and Misery, I'm go Carrie because that third act was one of the craziest third acts I ever seen in a film. You know, well, I was already shocked when they poured pig blood on her. I was like, oh boy, what's gonna happen now?
Mm-hmm.
And then those doors locked. The red, and it turned red, and then you know what I'm saying, everybody was getting murked. I was in the Friday 13th back, you know, for the killing, but like I think Carrie might got Jason on this one, son. You know, she worked everybody at the prom, son, just everybody, even the greatest American hero got it. John Travolta, all the Dukes, son. So yeah. I'm going with Carrie because Carrie's, like you said, it's so fun. It's a great slasher / psychological supernatural horror movie. Misery's great. God bless Kathy Bates in that performance. I think she won an Oscar for that.
She did, correct, yeah, right? And that's one of the few horror films that got appreciation at the Oscars. So definitely right. Great call out.
Yeah. She was fantastic. She was almost better than that film itself. But as for a film, I think I'm going with Carrie. Carrie was a fire. I think that's Brian De Palma, but I may be wrong. But it was fire.
You had something to say
about
TV? Someone said there was a TV remake of that.
Yeah, I saw that they said that there were 3 remakes, 1 TV movie, not good. Yeah, I don't know if I didn't know they made a TV. I'm gonna have to look it up.
But I want to add something really quick if I can. Perp was saying that, or not Perp, Q was saying how basically like, you know, Jason has nothing on Carrie, but in A New Blood, he basically fought a chick with telekinetic powers.
That's true.
So he did fight her. She basically kicked his ass. If I remember, she strangled him and like threw him down a flight of stairs and cracked his mask. Like she jacked him up.
Squeezed his brain out.
Exactly. That was basically like, you know, Jason versus an X-Men or Jason versus a Carrie type character.
That's funny.
Nice. Yeah, no, great call. That would be a great crossover, right? But for me, I got to go with Carrie on this one, even though, like all you guys have said, you know, Kathy Bates, she won an award for it. She was such a great actress in that film and just really brought certain gravitas to that performance in that role. But yeah, I got to go with Carrie. 1976 Carrie is a classic. Just such a great film. And going back to, you know, Castle Rock again, what's the actress name? Is it Sissy that played Carrie? I can't think of her name right now. I'm drawing blanks on all these names. Yeah, she's actually in the first season of Castle Rock, and I thought she was one of the better parts of that show. Her and Andre Holland. But I'm going with Carrie with this one guys. And I think a lot of people in the chat are agreeing with us in regards to Carrie taking the W for this one. But 2 great films though, nevertheless, 2 great films. Awesome. So that was one of many different games that I have, and I appreciate you guys indulging my games and my little trivia there, or little fun games that we had there. So that was fun, guys. I appreciate that. But I got a couple more I'll bring up later on, and I'll just bring up periodically. So
that was kind of tough.
Yeah, I tried to make it tough for you guys, but I appreciate that. So
it's so funny, Rad
Ram. So yeah, all those that are at home that are just stopping by on the chat again, we appreciate the support. If you haven't already, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, I have a question, like, for everybody. Like, what would you do if you had a kid that just did this, like, Red Rum? How would y'all react to that?
Adoption.
I'd start praying.
Adoption agency, dialing them up, calling them up. Hey, my son, he has a great haircut. You know, he has a good friend. You're buying 2 for 1. You know, he has a best friend. So pick him up. He'll be happy to go with you. No, I'm just playing. What you got, David? What you got?
Man, I might call in The Exorcist, man, if I'm being honest. Call a couple priests or something. I don't know.
I'll just leave him somewhere.
Yeah, leave him in the hotel.
Leave him in LA. They'll just think he's another crazy person. He's like, oh, you want a booby pick.
Skid Row, huh?
There you go.
I'll make them stop watching YouTube.
Leave it Hollywood Boulevard. You'll fit it perfectly.
Because my son saw the Momo. He was telling me about the Momo. I'm like, what are you talking about, Momo? You know, before it was a thing. Like, what Momo? What are you talking about? Go upstairs. And then, of course, on the news, there was the Momo, like in the kid's video. He had
Screw the Momo. The thing's creepy. Big ass eyes and that face.
My son was telling me about it. I'm like the parent in the horror movie don't believe him. Like, yeah, right. So Momo. And it was. It was like, oh. Well, don't watch that.
Aren't they making like a Momo movie now?
I thought I saw that or read that somewhere.
I saw something. Yeah.
The host was that.
Didn't they learn from? Yeah, didn't they learn from the Slender Man? That's like not a good concept.
That's a horrible movie.
I guess not, man.
He's like an eco-friendly like ghost murderer. Like he turns you into a tree to provide oxygen for people that are living. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna help the environment.
Oh, wow.
Like, whatever.
See, I didn't even know that's what it was about.
I mean,
he turns you into a tree and he haunts you first, and then you become a tree. Like that's it. It's so dumb. Dude.
That's funny.
The environmental killer.
Yeah.
The planet. All right.
You're like Captain Planet. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I will kill you so others may live, but I'll haunt you first.
Captain Planet slashing. I'm telling you, that's what's up.
Captain Planet.
That's funny. So man, if they had cell phones back then, man, that would have been.
He would have smashed the phones, dude. He would have dumped them all in the toilet, took sledgehammer to them.
Yeah, I don't even think you get a connection up there.
You were true.
That's my favorite thing though about watching older movies. Just to think if it was today, how would it be different? Would they survive? Right. That's the thing about the movie Hush, another Flanagan movie is. It's so funny. You see, you kind of see what would happen if all technology just goes away. Like I don't know. It was just, I thought it was great.
I love when shows do that too, where you don't know like the time era and you're wondering why people don't have phones and don't have technology. I like that play when certain movies and shows do that.
You guys should really read Cell. It's amazing because it literally talks about how like people with their own phones scrambles their brains and the phones become basically weaponized, and basically it's like these crazy hive monsters that are killing people. And it's by Stephen King. By page 3, the world's falling to crap. I mean, I highly recommend it. It's amazing.
Oh, The Cell. Was that when John?
The movie's not good. The movie's not even comparable. Like, don't watch it. Read the book. The movie's crap. Like, I don't know what they were thinking.
Nice.
Hey, jumping back to that question about like back then, not having communication is like a big thing, right?
Yeah.
So we were watching the other night, 1967's Wait Until Dark. It's an Aubrey Hepburn movie, and I don't really watch this, but my girl loves Aubrey Hepburn, right? So she plays someone that's blind in that movie, and her not knowing anything right around her, and the communication is only her phone. And when they cut the wires, it's like they cut her world completely.
Wow.
Because it really shows though, and they have like telephone, like what do they call like a telephone booth on the street, right? I mean, we don't have that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that used to be a thing. Like when we were out as kids and stuff. At least for me, like we had to get home before it got dark, right before the street lights came on. There was no cell phones hitting me up like, come home now. Like you had to know when to come home. It's like whether you're alive or not, you better get your ass home. That's kind of what it was.
I want to add to what you're saying too.
Yeah, go for it.
There was a terrorist attack here on U.S. soil. In Southern California, not too long ago, maybe like 3 years ago. I was supposed to go to a hospital. I don't know if you guys know about Southern California. You guys are, I'm assuming some of you guys, right? Okay. Anyway.
Well, David's in California. Yeah, David, and I'm saying.
Okay. Well, it was there was a shooting out in like Fontana where there was some terrorists that came through, and they ended up shooting up a public building, like a unemployment building. And you guys know what I'm talking about? They came to like a Christmas party and they shot the people. Well, basically, I only found out about it because of YouTube. I jumped up in the morning. I had to go to a doctor's appointment in that area, and I found out there was a shooting because of YouTube. So I mean, imagine what would happen if we didn't know about if we didn't have technology to inform us. You know what I mean? I may have gone down there to find out I can't be there.
Right.
Or God forbid, died.
We definitely wouldn't find out most of the stuff that happens now. Like we have so much information out there now. It's just it's because so much completely different with just technology. Nowadays, like when you see like you're gonna have a generation when they like look at these movies like, oh, do they have a 5G tower or something like that? And it's crazy how times change.
It is. And it's actually kind of a perfect segue into one of the questions I want to get from everyone in the panel. Starting off with David, just regards to fears. What is it that gets under you guys' skin when it comes to horror films, psychological films, thriller films? What is it exactly that kind of gets you guys scared? And this is for everyone in the chat as well. Let me know in the comments. But starting off with David, man, what type of horror gets under your skin, and what scares you personally, man?
That's a pretty good question because when I was a kid, and it's funny because my dad would always rent horror movies. So every weekend we were at his house just watching these horror movies, right? Silver Bullet actually comes to mind, another Stephen King.
Woo!
So, but like,
Mhm.
that was like one of the early ones, right? So at first, when I was little, maybe till, whenever high school, whatever, it was always the visuals. And it was cool because everything was practical effects, right? The best, I think, in my mind, practical effects are the best.
Yeah.
But you'd have so much people investing their time. That was their job. But anyways, it was always the visuals. Now later in life, I think since we, adapted, the movie experience to IMAX and Dolby Digital, it's more of the sounds. So obviously we can get into that whole debate about, are jump scares considered horror? Because in my mind, it's a cheap ploy to call
Agreed.
something a horror movie. And that's like a constant debate. Like, oh, this movie, did you see how scary this movie was? People were jumping. Does that necessarily mean it's scary, though, because it had loud sounds? I don't think so. But that usually has gotten me now that I get a little older in life, is the auditory. It really gets me. So I always like cover one ear because I know something's coming.
Yeah, I knew that when you do that with your trailer reactions. You always mentioned like the scare, the sounds is what to get you.
Yeah. I always have one headphone off. It's even like when I'm talking to you, like I have to hear myself talk. I can't have both on. It's a weird thing with my ears, but yeah, that's what I've noticed later in life. So I think the audio more side. Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. Same with you, Perk, man. What is it that gets under your skin, man? What is it about, the horror that really gets you nowadays? And even going back to when you were a kid to now, what gets you scared?
It's like watching this movie, The Shining. It's just the psychological aspect to these horror movies, and I feel like that's why a lot of modern horror movies kind of fall flat because they miss that psychological aspect to it. Where if you can't get into a person's mind or head, it's not really effective. Like when Nightmare on Elm Street first came out, people were afraid to go to sleep. Stuff like that.
Yeah, preach that.
Yeah. Awesome. No, that's well said, man. Same with you, Q. I know you, for all that don't know, Q is a visual effects guy, and he has a long history of making his own effects and scaring his mom when he was a kid and all that stuff. But I would love to know, man, what is it that gets under Q's skin? What scares you, man?
Well, man, it's always tough for me. Like, as a long time horror movie lover, like me and my grandmother used to go to like your local Blockbuster and get 3 horror movies and put them on one VHS. So I was so desensitized by The Exorcist. I've seen it 150 times. So it got to the point it didn't even scare me anymore. Like, oh,
right,
she's doing her crazy girl thing again, don't you? But then as I got older, I watched it and I was like, it's like raining. I'm like, oh yeah, I got this special edition of The Exorcist. Let's just throw it in. Oh, scared the crap out of me, dog. I had to run the bath water. You know what I'm saying? Turn on all the lights, son. Like, yo, son, that devil face, in the Exorcist that they shine with the teeth, like, like, dude, that freaks me out for some reason. I think that's a real demon. Like, that's a real demon right there, and her voice and everything, along with the sounds or something like that.
Yeah.
A movie like The Exorcist, is, like you said, it's more psychological thing. Poltergeist kind of creep me out, even though it's all fun in games, but the poltergeist entity is scary in that movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How it just attacks his family one by one. They try to keep it lighthearted. Steven Spielberg lightly directed that, but it's just something about how they did it and how they did this poltergeist entity, or maybe the supernatural scares me more than real things, because it's the unknown.
Yeah.
Psychopathic slashers I love. It's one of my favorite genres. But I think the psychological gets to me more on an intellectual level. So I'm going with more psychological horror or more psychological supernatural horror.
I love it. Same with you, Mr. Death Breath, in regards to what is it, man, that gets you going, man? What is it that keeps your lights on at night?
But before I jump into this, I do want to say something that David was saying, that you were talking about how sounds don't necessarily make a movie scary. I think there's kind of like a fine line between that, right? Because I can clap and startle you, but I think that the misdirection is what makes it not work. Like, it's like, you expect to see Jack Torrance with an axe. Instead, you see the Pomeranian at your leg. And that's where it becomes a problem. Because if you look at, like, It Chapter 1, right, there's jump scares, but they're effectively used. Like, instant when Hunt Sinker is at the bottom of the well, and he's using his, like, Michael Jackson caught his hair on fire flamethrower thing, right? When he's there, he sees the balloon, and it pops, and you see Pennywise go, woo, and come at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it works when you actually set up the scare. But it doesn't work when you do, like, a misdirection, because that's where it gets a problem. But that's just my 2 cents on that. But what scares me, really the unknown. Like, did you guys get a chance to see Hereditary at all?
The words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
so specifically, what gets me is all the naked people, because you know that there's sinister things happening, or more specifically, when his mother's pounding on the attic, and then she's in there, but then you hear the and she's cutting off her head. Like things like that get me. Like the things that, like, you know, like, I mean, I'm not trying to bring religion into this, but there's a verse in the Bible that says, we don't wrestle against the flesh, but the principalities, dominions of darkness, right? So when you're talking about elements of darkness, that's where it makes me uncomfortable, because, you know, I believe those things are real. So when you start talking about like demons and ghosts and things like that, that's where it gets unsettling, because you can't really put it tangibly, right? Like a guy in a mask, it's still a guy in a mask. But, you know, a demonic clown or a demon in a movie or someone beheading themselves, it's hard to really put a finger on it. And that's what leaves me on it. Like another example, Insidious. Do you guys remember the hag?
Yeah.
I slept with my lights on for a week because I kept imagining the hag in the corner of my room. So, I mean, but then they, of course, completely ruined it by pointing out that it was a guy that had mommy issues that dressed up in drag. And I'm like, okay, now it's not scary anymore. It's like once you make it human, it's no longer frightening. That's why Freddy's so scary, because he's this metaphysical thing. Right. You know, of course, they ruin it in part 7, but, you know, so basically anything that's, you know, out of the realm of our tangibility as humans, that's what frightens me.
No, well said, man. I love it. I love this scene here. We're now at the part where Jack again is just like he's off the rails and all work, no play, makes adult. But yeah, this is a great scene. But horror mainly in regards to what is it that gets you scared, keeps your lights on at night, makes you look under your bed before you go to to sleep. What is it that gets under your skin?
I'm actually the opposite. I think human on human horror scares me more. I mean, the first horror movie I watched was Scream, and for me that was really scary because someone could actually dress up in a creepy mask and come kill you. So it scared me so much watching that as a kid. I am a little more desensitized now, so I don't really get scared per se, but again, just movies that play with people's fears. I don't know if you guys seen the movie Dread, but that was literally studying people's fears and using it against them. And to me, that was just something that just messed with my head so much, because I'm like, that could happen. So I think movies that could happen, and it's proven it could happen, those are to me the creepiest ones.
That's awesome.
Especially,
appreciate you guys having this therapy session with me and telling me your deep and dark secrets. So I know how to scare you guys now.
There you go.
If we ever meet. So I appreciate you guys sharing that with us and everyone in the chat. Everyone in the chat, we're gonna get in here and get you guys this. But before we get into the chat, some of the things you guys hit the nail on the head for me. When I grew up in the 90s. So Scream, the slasher genre. Again, my favorite horror film of all time is Halloween. I just love the idea. The simplicity of Halloween is really what scares me, and the fact that it's just he's a shape. He's just killing people just for not the fun of it, but you're in his way and he's going to take you out. So that always kind of got to me. So I definitely understand that. But as I got older, psychological horrors, I'm sorry. Like Mr. Death Breath was saying, Hereditary, literally, there's a film. I've only seen that film one time. I own the movie. It's on my shelf. I own the movie. I have yet to watch that because that film got to me so much.
You only needed to watch it one time, really.
It feels like it's cursed. I'm afraid to watch it because I don't want to put that crap in my head again.
Maybe that's a watch along. We can get celebrating.
Yes, we could do that.
Or something like that. But I've only watched it. Really, the third. I know some people don't like the third act because it kind of goes off the rails and it kind of.
Oh, so good.
Kind of goes a different direction from the lead up from the first two acts. But Mr. Death Breath was saying, when she's cutting off her head, I have a thing about when people are running after each other. Like, I can only imagine if my mom was chasing me in the house and she's trying to kill me the way Alex Wolff was running up the attic. There's stuff like that just gets under my skin. So the psychological paranormal activity stuff is really what gets to me. But so if you guys ever want to scare me, have someone chasing after me or something. But yeah, what's up, Bert?
I did want to suggest some movies for y'all, for not just you, but everybody on the panel and the chat. Two movies that came out. Well, one came out last year, but technically it released this year. Whatever. The Lodge, and The Wretched. The Wretched is an interesting horror movie. It introduces a few different ideas and stuff that are kind of interesting. The ending is but the overall film.
You reviewed it a couple weeks ago, right, Perk? Is that the one with the girl with the husk face on, or like a Okay.
Yeah, it's like a deer. It's like a deer skull or something.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, definitely check that out.
No, I appreciate those recommendations. The Lodge, I saw that earlier this year, and it's actually on Hulu for those that haven't seen The Lodge yet. I actually haven't bought it when it came out on Blu-ray. What's her name? Riley.
Did that get a? Did that
Yeah,
get a release?
Yeah,
The
it was a
Lodge, like
small-
early
yeah.
in January or
I
something?
saw it in
think,
January.
or-
Yeah, that's when I think it
Okay.
came out even last year though. But my theater out in St. Louis, it came out in July or January. But yeah, it's on Hulu. That is it Riley Kilo? Is that her name?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that she's fantastic. But yeah, the Lodge is that. Those are some great recommendations, and that kind of to that point too. And we'll get some people. And yeah, this scene here, guys.
Give me
The
the
Have
best.
you- have you seen the
weakest
original?
bat swing. The weakest bat swing I've ever seen, too.
Did you know Stanley Kubrick
I know,
made her
this is like-
do this take 136 times? It's like
Yeah.
in the Guinness Book of World Record. Made her go crazy. Actually,
Yeah.
Damn.
Bro, this-
The Ring is fantastic.
The Ring, yeah, that's a good pick. I
This is
always
Have you guys
this
seen
is
The
olive
Ritual?
oil from Popeye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She kept acting after this. She kind of went crazy, you know. Shelley Duvall.
She needs-
this was it.
She needs to learn how to use a bat from Negan. Take bat.
There you go. Nice one. Sorry, I take that. Dave,
Hey, have you guys seen The Ritual?
There you go.
Ah!
Yeah, the ritual is weird.
Is
Yeah, that was a cool
the
one. It was
Netflix
really
one?
strange.
When they go out in the forest and get
Yeah, it was strange.
Yeah.
I actually liked it. I mean, I don't know if it's fantastic, but I thought it was interesting. You know,
Hereditary.
I wouldn't mind
yeah.
the direct-to-video sequel.
Yeah, Hereditary is definitely that gets under my skin. Eva, I was nervous. Yeah, that night, literally, it's not a lot of things that get to me, guys. But I don't know what it was about Hereditary. I thought that someone was in the corner of the bedrooms at night. I had sleep paralysis. That's why, again, when Q Review did his sleep paralysis dance, I was just
That
like,
was hilarious with the dancing. That was
that
so
is, like,
funny.
the worst. Yes.
Oh,
Sleep
like
paralysis.
Zach Baggins get nightmares. Screw that.
Yeah. I keep that
Pretty
on at night,
good.
and that happens for real. That came from a real place.
Sinister.
I
I'm
think
not going to watch Travel
Hereditary-
Channel because of you, Q. So I mean,
Right?
you made a good statement. Like, screw that. I'm done.
I'm sorry.
If they're
it
doing
is
food
scary.
stuff, I'm in. But if it's ghost stuff, I'm out.
Oh, it's all ghost
Right.
stuff now. So
I'm done. Nope.
it's like, yeah.
Are you guys a fan of the Conjuring universe? Conjuring 1,
Absolutely.
2, and what about the spin-offs? The Nun,
Uh,
La Llorona, and
I liked
the
the second Conjuring, and I liked Annabelle, the third one, and I liked the Nun, but I don't care for the rest.
Gotcha. What about
yeah,
you, Dave?
the
Oh, go ahead,
the spin-offs are okay. They're not nothing special. Like I
Right.
still just think the Conjurings are more. They're like the ones that you should just mainly focus on. But
yeah.
I like that we're getting like a horror kind of cinematic universe.
Universe, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of original. That's
That is.
HCU.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, James Wan, and I love that he's, all these superhero movies, whether it be David F. Sandberg or be, these people that he's picking out. It was David Chavez is the one that directed La Llorona, and he's directing The Conjuring 3. So I love that he finds these directors and puts them, gets the audience familiar with them. So
I definitely want to see a Crooked Man movie.
yes,
Oh,
that's
heck
what I was-
yeah.
I was waiting
Heck
for
yeah.
that. Yeah. What about you, HorrorMania, in regards to the Conjuring universe? And are you excited for the third one? I love the subtitle. I believe is The Devil Made Me Do It is the third Conjuring. I love that
jeez.
subtitle.
What
but
an epic title.
I'll be honest, I didn't like the title at all. I think
you didn't
it's
like
so
it? I
cheesy.
love it. I love those cheese. That's the thing. I love those. Cheese.
Yeah, I do love the Conjuring movies. One
Love
and
of
two
my
are
life.
great, and they're really creepy.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the Nun or any. Well, Annabelle 2 was okay, but
Mhm.
I couldn't really get into those. I thought they were just not that good. But yeah, I love the Conjuring movies. Don't hate me.
No, not at all.
No hatred. You're too awesome.
Exactly. No, you guys are all awesome.
I share the
Heck yeah.
exact same thoughts. I saw The Conjuring 1 and 2. I
Mhm.
really liked them. Not the first one more than the second one. I saw The Nun, absolutely hated it. I recently saw The Curse La Llorona as like a watch along,
Mhm.
and I'm Mexican American, and Mexican American. I put it out on Facebook. They absolutely hated what they did with that movie because that was a story, like a folklore that was actually told to like my
Right.
grandma and stuff as a kid, right? And they thought that the folklore was kind of there, but the execution was terrible. That's what a lot of people said.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I agreed. I mean, Linda Cardellini's cool and stuff like that, but did not do it for me, the movie, at all.
I don't even really consider that one in the Conjuring universe. I know they mentioned like Annabelle in there, like very
Yeah.
briefly, but I'm like, you guys
Yeah.
are just like kind of using the Conjuring to like
They're picking.
get more
So
people.
turning into
yeah.
like a Cloverfield thing. Everything's a Cloverfield sequel.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
It's
see.
only
what
one
happens.
one Cloverfield to me.
Yeah, same here, man.
I will agree with you on that one.
We'll
But the
see
other
what
one's just
happens
like
with
everything.
those. Yeah.
I
yeah,
do
we'll-
like 10 Cloverfield Lane though. I think that one's great.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but the space one,
Trash.
Oh, that space one was trash. But
Yeah.
Ellie and I always talk about the 10 Cloverfield Lane too. You guys know about the story about 10 Cloverfield Lane, right? That it was a whole different movie before J.J. Abrams got a
No.
hold of it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell us about
Yeah,
it.
they
I didn't know that.
completely
Please.
changed the title.
Yeah, so like 80% of the movie was done, and then I forgot which distribution company put it out, but it was like, hey JJ, you want to like finish this movie off, add your little twist, and the movie was already freaking done for like years. It was just shelved, and he just added his Cloverfield twist at the end, and he made it from a claustrophobic like Fallout type of movie, like we don't know what's going on, to like this like alien like spinoff, like was attached to it. And that's why the third act seems so weird from the first part, like first, half of the movie.
It worked though. I mean, I like how he's like, you question his motivation, John Goodman. He's like, this is because of this. And you're like, nah, he's full of crap. And then you see like the aliens. You're like, oh, he wasn't full of it. I'm like, okay, it works.
Yeah.
But it was weird.
didn't work.
So good in that though.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Him and Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah, I love
Great
her. I'll
actress.
watch anything with her in there.
Same
Ramona
here.
Flowers.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
Need to get her in some more horror films.
I didn't like her in Birds of Prey though. I'll just say that.
She
I
was my favorite
hated
part.
Birds of Prey, and it has nothing
She's
to do
my
with the
favorite
female
part. I love
cast. It was just a
Huntress.
stupid movie.
It ain't her fault, I know.
Yeah. But so now again, just for everyone at home that is either tuning in or if you're watching on the replay, so you know where we're kind of at, kind of cue it up on your Blu-ray or streaming services. But we're an hour and 55 minutes into the film, or an hour and 54 minutes into the film. We see Jack taking a nap on a sack of salt or rice or whatever that is, but it looks pretty cozy.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad, huh?
Yeah,
No.
definitely worse places to sleep.
It's probably cold though.
Yeah,
Peanut butter up. Yeah. Oreo cookies. You good?
definitely. But
It's
here,
like
let
my
me head up to-
quarantine diet.
right? I mean, kind of on the side note, how are you guys holding up so far in this quarantine? I know we've all been kind of catching up on some films, but from where you guys are at, is things starting to open up more? Are you guys going back to work? What's the situation? Starting off with David.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been working since day one. I didn't have a quarantine. I'm part of the essential crew. So I believe for us, I'm about an hour from up north from LA. So everything's starting to reopen. We're getting crazy populated because our beaches are actually open. But I think most like Zuma Beach and like Malibu, I think in that area, the beach is actually reopened and whatnot. But yeah, people are starting to get back to work. But of course, people don't want that because they think it's too soon and stuff like that. But I heard the official redate for LA to open was July 4th.
July 4th.
So,
huh?
That's what I heard.
Interesting.
That's what I heard, but I don't see it happening. I see them revolting
I see
and
it
like this.
August or something. I don't know.
Well, that's what you would want, but it seems like people are just going out. They're not following the rules. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
What about you, Perk? Where you're at, man? How's things kind of shaping up?
It's pretty much the same. It looks like a ghost town. I live in a small town, so it's the people are like your typical average small town weirdos. So, but I will say,
Sounds like a horror film, man.
yeah, it is. It literally, my neighborhood looks like like something out of Nightmare on Elm Street, like when you see it at night. But I just can't wait for things to get back to normal. The first thing I'm gonna do is go to the theaters.
Go run out to go see Tenet for the drop.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tenet, hell yeah.
First thing popped into my mind. I like, as soon as you said theater, Tenet popped in my
Yep.
mind.
That's why I think that film's going to do so well at the box office. As soon as we get that go ahead, I think that film's going to do like crazy numbers the opening weekend. But man, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bert. What was you going to say?
I was gonna say they're probably gonna have people wearing masks and stuff.
Yeah,
in the
I
theater.
think so. Yeah.
That's gonna be a weird experience.
It's going to be like that for a while too, probably. The whole what we consider normal. I don't know if we'll ever get back to that point. But and I've officially retired handshaking. I was never a fan of handshaking in the first place. But if anyone comes to shake my hand, elbow or like that's. I'm not a big handshaker, but Q reviews, man. How you doing out there, man? How's the life and the quarantine and work and the family?
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm in Michigan right now, so we got Big Gretch as our governor.
Yeah,
Gretchen Whitmore, they call him Big Gretch, like some kind of gangster or something. Kwame Kilpatrick's getting out of prison, so it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But right now, quarantine. It seems like it's trying to get back to normal. Like it's weird now not to see somebody in the store with a mask.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
man,
true.
this person ain't got no mask. She was
Some stores won't even let you in.
living on the edge. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some
Living on
stores,
the edge.
some stores wouldn't even let you in.
Yeah.
You're right, man. So it's I went out today to get some groceries. Everyone had a mask. Yeah, it's always those couple you see that in a mask. Like, oh yeah, she must be crazy. But
Yeah.
It seems like it's coming back to normal. Big Gretch got us on lockdown to June 12th or 15th or something like that, she say. But I think it's probably going to go into July because every time the day almost get here, it always get extended. So I think I'm still in the house till July, man. I'm getting a little stir crazy. I really go. I mean, I'm working from home on the computers and things like that. But man, I want to go back to the office and and go back to the movies. Whenever I pass the movies, it seemed like a ghost town for sure.
Yeah,
like it's weird.
It's crazy, man. And Norm, what about you, Mr. Death Breath, in regards to you and your family? You guys holding up okay? And
yeah, everything's fine.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like some things have changed.
Yeah.
Like obviously not being essentials changed. But I mean, I'm still working out. I'm still doing things. I mean, I ended up building a whole I ended up putting up a pull-up bar. I ended up building weights a couple weeks before this happened. So I'm still deadlifting and curling. Nothing's really changed. I did start learning bass, and I've gotten pretty proficient at it. I don't know. I guess everything is kind of what it is,
Yeah, no, I hear
and
you,
I know when things open up, I'm still going to be a little cautious because there's this whole mob mentality of pro mask, no mask, and if you're one or the other, someone's going to tend to try to want to enforce their viewpoint on it. And so I don't know. I mean, we'll open up, and when we do, I'm still going to be cautious and not gather with too many people just because I don't want to deal with the madness that's going to follow.
For sure.
So. It's all good.
This whole situation is a horror movie in itself, and I know there was Michael Bay's doing a production in 2 weeks of a film to take advantage of this.
Yeah, he is.
And, I mean, that's going to be the trend, right? As we had the found footage trend, the jump scare trend, and that's going to be the next thing. Zombie movie is going to be
the coronavirus movie starring Morgan Freeman.
That's just
Full Moon already did it, man. Full Moon.
Outbreak, right?
I think the next trend though of movies, like the next wave, is going to be foreign.
Keep that thought. Hold that thought. That's actually a question I have for you guys a little later. But yeah, hold that thought. Definitely want to bring that up later, man. But yeah, horror mania in regards to you holding up okay and going back to work anytime soon on your end?
Well, I've been working just
You've been working,
David, one of the essentials. So I don't know why I did that, but yeah, we're still going into work every day. Freeways are definitely starting to look more and more packed, which is not fun. But other than that, everything is good.
I'm glad you guys are holding up. You guys, are families are staying safe. And again, hopefully we get back to some type of normalcy if we ever get to that point. But yeah. So anyway, and that's why I love you. I appreciate you guys coming on tonight and watching this movie with me and taking the time and try to get our mind off of this craziness outside of the out of the house here. So a question that someone had brought up, Jay Cooper. Has anyone seen Midsummer, which came out last year? They're thinking about renting it. So I just want to kind of go round table, starting off with David. Would you guys recommend that Jay Cooper go rent this film? They heard mixed reviews, creepier than Hereditary. What's your thoughts on Midsummer, David?
So when the trailer came out, I really wanted to see it, but then early reviews were telling me there's so many mixed early reviews, and I really wish I would have just saw it for myself. But one of my good friends was like, "Oh, you're gonna hate it. Do not watch it." And I really kind of value his opinion, so I did not end up watching it. But I keep hearing mixed opinions. People are like, "It's an artsy piece. It's not really scary. It's not this or it's not that." I think I'm just gonna end up watching it eventually, and then kind of make up my own mind. I heard it's very lengthy. I don't know. I have not seen it, but yeah, I have to pass on this one. I mean, well, my opinion wise right now.
Sure. No worries, man. And then same with you, Perk. Did you get a chance to see Midsummer and to help this Jay Cooper out? Should they bring it tonight?
Absolutely, yes. Like if you like weird horror movies, this is clearly going to be up your alley. It's very trippy and psychological and stuff, and it just takes you through a whole trip. It's crazy.
Well said, man. Yeah, and again, that's for a lot of people that was their first time seeing Florence Pugh, but I had seen Florence Pugh years ago, and obviously last year she showed her acting chops from Fighting with My Family to Midsummer, and then obviously Little Women. So that was I'll get to my thoughts on Midsummer, but yeah, Q, did you get a chance to see it, and do you recommend they rent it tonight?
Oh yeah. I really like Ari Aster, and I love Midsummer. Actually, it was a very unique horror movie to do a horror movie shot in beautiful broad daylight and be so horrific at the same time. And hats off to my girl Florence Pugh. Oh boy, she's somebody to be watched. So if you haven't seen Midsummer, if you're curious, I say it's long, but the pacing's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? It kept me intrigued when stuff wasn't kind of going on, because it's this whole breakup thing, and you know, he dealt with some type of breakup. The director did, and hey, I wouldn't want to break up with this guy. Let's just put it like that. I will watch Midsummer if you haven't seen it yet. Check it out. You're gonna be kind of freaked out.
And I think I might already know Mr. Breath's answer, because he said he kind of had like a audible reaction when we said it. So go for it, my friend. What do you
Okay, I
think?
want to say I hate this movie. No, I'm just totally kidding. Okay, so let me just get to my excitement point.
Yeah.
So I actually have 2 shirts. One of them I bought online from Etsy. Another one I bought from my really talented friend, also part of the Spooky Squad. The art of Sammy Ruiz. He made an amazing picture of Christian in the bear suit. If you know, you know. If not, you'll find out. Okay, so I love this movie because there's so much to unpack. I've seen it 4 times, and every time I watch it, I get a new perspective, and I get another piece to the puzzle that adds more context to the film.
Nice.
So it's really one of those films that, yeah, I mean, the writing is kind of on the wall, how things are going to go, but there's so much imagery and so many things that are said that could really that really enhances the film. It's like, I like to think of it kind of like Inception, in the sense that, you know, like, whether is Leonardo asleep or awake, who knows? But when you watch it, you keep picking up on things. And this movie's fantastic, but also understand that it isn't your typical horror movie. It isn't a slasher movie. It's more of like a slow burn that has an intense finish that'll leave you scratching your head. But it's almost like, if you can accept that, you'll want to view it again, because I didn't like it at first.
Johnny.
And then it just kind of permeated, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I think it's amazing. It's one of the best films ever made, because there's so much to look at. I mean, I can probably watch it tonight, and I probably will, and I'll get more from it again, because it's just amazing.
That.
I'm holding you responsible, Mr. Death Breath, if I hate this movie. I'm holding you. That was like the highest
it out with an
praise
open
you
mind.
gave.
Hey, it's and also, yeah, David brought it up. That was an
Yeah, best
iconic
horror
scene.
movie ever made.
Who is Johnny, guys? Who is Johnny? Because his name's Jack. Who's Johnny?
Johnny.
I've heard. I've
Johnny
actually heard.
Carson. Johnny Carson used to say that.
Yeah, Johnny
Yeah.
Carson.
So I was going to say,
Johnny.
get to that point, because I know, and again, we've the audio's down, but I know if you guys remember kind of Jack's whole like TV watching, he has like this kind of perception about TV, right? That he's kind of against TV and media. But I love that, you know, the character, now that he's kind of turned on his head, he's now using these characters from television to kind of bring it to this film. So there's a little, again, if you guys, there's so many think pieces on The Shining in regards to like deep dives into these characters and some of the meetings, but yeah, that's obviously an iconic scene there. But yeah, Mr. Breath said it well in regards to Midsummer, but yeah, HorrorMania, in regards to your thoughts on Midsummer, is this something that, again, Jay Cooper, they're debating on renting it tonight. Should they check it out?
I'm in the minority here, but I did not like Midsummer the way I should have liked it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Something about it left a sour taste in my mouth, and it rubbed me the wrong way. I think it's a very well-made movie, very well acted.
Yeah.
How Q said, the colors and how everything's in daylight, you don't get that in a horror movie. So I think it has a lot of great elements in it, and I think everyone should watch it and build their own opinion on it. But I personally, just something about it doesn't sit well with me.
No, I respect that 100%.
It was Christian's fate, right? Because no one likes that. I'm kidding.
There you go.
I'm just talking crap. I'm totally joking. Joking.
I love it.
No,
I think. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Like, I love the movie Mother, and so many people hate that movie. So I get it.
Like
so I totally get it.
I love
Yeah,
Mother. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I wanna,
I don't know.
I want to say a parting thing that might go over people's heads, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But after the 4th time watching the film, I finally believe that Christian's a douchebag. So let that sink in how you want to. I finally believe it. I didn't think so at first. He didn't deserve what happened.
From the
but he's a douchebag now. I'm fully convinced. 100%. 100%. Did he deserve his fate? Debatable. But he's a douchebag. Undeniable. So,
well, David, looks like you got something to watch, man. To kind of put in my 2 cents, I think Midsummer.
To watch.
Again, Ari Aster is, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in regards to just kind of directors and who we like and who do we see the next kind of, you know, the Wes Cravens of the world, the John Carpenter, who's that next batch of directors. But I think Ari Aster is a really interesting guy, and like Q said, his first 2 films, Hereditary, deals with, you know, grieving, right? And I think we can all, for those that see Midsummer, deals, you know, the subject matter is breakups and how people handle that and self-dependency and things of that nature. So there's always those human elements to Ari Aster's films. And when he goes to those horrific psychological depths of his movies, it just gets bananas. So I definitely recommend you check it out, David. It's a really trippy film for sure. And Florence Pugh, again, we talked about Kathy Bates being nominated. You know, I put Florence Pugh in that same category with in the last 5 years or 7 years or decade in horror films. Florence Pugh, you know, Emily Blunt in The Quiet Place, Lupita Nyong'o and Us. I mean, I put
The Quiet Place.
And also Elizabeth Moss, and most recently in Invisible Man. I put those women in this category where they're just like they're giving you everything. So Florence,
you got to put Toni Collette in there too.
Toni Collette. How can I? Yeah, Toni Collette was incredible.
Toni Collette. Oh my gosh,
she deserved an Oscar that year. A nomination. Yeah, she was fantastic. So definitely check that out, David. And also, as you can see, Jay Cooper, we recommend you give it a shot. So definitely rent that tonight if you get the chance to.
I think
we got
it's
some
on Prime, so.
Yeah, I think it should be.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
You got another big scene right here too.
Oh yeah.
Man.
That
was bad.
Now I was gonna say salute to my homie LB in the chat, Lonely Banter.
Yeah, LB. I know. I've seen a couple of his videos. I know he has a really good channel. I know he's doing some watch along for the Star Wars movie. So yeah, definitely appreciate you coming in tonight, man, and showing PURP some love. We appreciate that.
Look at his face. It looks so funny.
Yeah.
He's like, make a weird face.
That's funny.
Dang, man.
Man, Jack Nicholson is such a talent, man. It's just one of
the greatest. Yeah, man. Soft fan of this greatest movie.
Cold,
I think after I saw this
movie, wasn't
I think after watching it a few times, I was like really upset about how Scatman kind of went out because I mean he's supposed to have The Shining, so it's like I would have loved to see a battle or something, man. Like
it was no battle. He crumbled. It was like a whole Rocky montage trading thing for him getting over there. And then he opened the door and get an action chest.
He just got hit with that left hook and and then
you spent like a good portion of the movie just traveling here, and then he dies as he walks in.
Well, I know, right?
I would love to.
I think that goes. I think that goes. I was about to say about that scene. I think that goes to show you
the weird bunny scene.
Ooh,
yeah, like how
what are they doing?
Yeah, never.
How the stakes were in this. Oh wow. Yeah.
I don't understand.
Do we ever figure out what the hell's going on in this?
Yeah, this is never explained. I mean, obviously
he's into furries. That's all it is. That's it.
Yeah.
That might be a shout out to Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut. Yep.
Yeah.
He's planting the seeds. That's funny.
Oh, Wendy looked like she was about to pass out when she saw that.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. But it looks like Jay Cooper took our advice, guys. Look, he's gonna go ahead and give it a shot. So definitely let us know what you thought about it, man. Hit us up on our Instagram.
If you hate it, feel free to send me a scathing DM message on my Instagram telling me how wrong I am. It's fine. I've dealt with worse.
It's a quarantine for me. I live in Texas. Almost everything is open. Gotcha. Yeah, Texas, man. They're just trendsetters.
Even salons, man. Even salons.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't cut my hair since February.
Dude, I'm on 18 months with this bad boy, man. I haven't cut my hair and I've been growing it for almost like 2 years.
Yeah.
I got my power
You
towel.
guys can complain about your
I'm gonna
hair.
say HorrorMania.
Your hair looks amazing, HorrorMania. I don't know why you're complaining. It looks beautiful. It's wonderful.
You have no idea.
I like
Captain Caveman.
You either posted it in your Insta story, but your nails when you had zoomed in on
My
your
nails are grown out. It's a disaster, guys. Okay.
That's funny.
So you know that's actually salt they're running through? Isn't that crazy?
Oh,
I know.
no.
Yeah, that's not snow. It's just tons and tons of salt.
Oh, you gotta get your hair mouth. Oh, that'd be nasty.
Oh,
right.
I don't know. I can just imagine dipping crackers into it.
I would hope it's not like grated salt because that must have hurt like just to fall into that. Like that's not like smooth.
Fine salt.
Yeah, like some fine salt.
Fine salt.
Yeah, those at home, if you're wondering where we're at in the film, if you're just popping in or watching the replay, we're 2 hours and 11 minutes into the film when we see Johnny, or I was to say Jack, going after young.
Yes, Johnny.
Danny here.
I also love when they recreated the scene in Ready Player One too.
Yeah, that was great.
Remember that? Yeah, that was awesome.
I love. Some people hated that movie. I really enjoyed that film.
Yeah,
I think
I enjoyed it.
I think for the people that read the book, because the book is completely different from the movie.
Yeah,
so that's
true.
like that kind of.
Yeah, I that first part where like King Kong was in the city and they had the race, that was incredible. That's something only Steven Spielberg can do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. I was like, wow, just give me a whole movie with this race and them trying to get past Kong. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was never a fan of Gundam until I saw like Ready Player One. I was like, wow, I could really see a live action Gundam movie. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, but I don't enjoy it anymore. It's almost like it's a movie I can watch
character.
once, never see again, because it just seems uninteresting the second time around.
I didn't like that main character. I just didn't gravitate towards him as an actor. You know, I didn't like his avatar.
Young Cyclops.
Yeah.
Harvey, isn't it?
Right.
Ty Sheridan, I think.
Ty Sheridan, that's right. Yeah.
That movie was dark though. They had some dark elements in there, like people killed his family and stuff. Like, I was like, even though his uncle and aunt were like really saints and stuff, I was just like they took out the whole thing.
I would love this. REG brings up he would love to see Toni Collette and Florence Pugh work together. I think Ari Aster that would be. Whew, sign me
just
up.
let them cry together.
I know, right? Just mother and daughter type of. Yeah, I would give me that. I'm signing me up for that one for sure.
Oh, this is creepy.
It's like who's gonna cry more, Toni Collette or Florence Pugh?
Right.
We'll find out. And who's gonna get an Oscar nomination? Both of them.
Right.
Yeah, I got Florence in the crying one. That one in Hereditary. That hurt me too.
That ending with her like crying and just that strange serene music. It was just like, oh, this is so weird. I love it.
Oh man.
I love this little Michael Jackson moonwalking scheme here.
Wait, it's Billy Jean.
Hey, you got to get smart, man. When Jack's chasing you, right?
Exactly.
Oh,
So another question I want to bring up to the panel and everyone in the chat, definitely let me know. But what is it that you guys think it is? As far as what is it with Stephen King's books that have been adapted to TV shows, to movies that speak to people? Why is it? What is it to you? Starting off with David, man. What is it that whether it be? I know a lot of us. I don't think you did. You say you read a book of his, David? Because I know I haven't.
No, I haven't read the books.
So in regards to like his TV work or things that have been adapted to TV shows and to movies, what is it that resonates with people? And particularly in the horror realm, obviously he has Stand By Me, Shang-Chi, all those films that are like dramas, but like in particularly with the horror films, what is it that speaks to people that just makes people just want more?
Yeah, so personally as a kid, I had extreme ADHD, so I never read books. I couldn't focus on books at all. I still can't. But I think for people, they're always going to differentiate because you're creating these visuals in your head, right? When you're reading the book. So of course the interpretation is going to be a little different than watching it in a movie. So it's different direction and whatnot. But I think there's two different things to be talked about too, because Hollywood is they're never going to recreate a new anything anymore. It's always recycled, right? So we're never going to have another Halloween. We're never going to have another this. The closest that we had was Scream reinventing the wheel. And that was what, 2000, 2001, something like that.
1997, I think.
Oh, okay. We'll see. I'm off. But see, it's been a while. There's been so much recycled material, but I think what speaks to the people about this is that he has a variety of different things to talk about. They're not all necessarily horror, but I think that they're extreme cash cows for Hollywood. Yeah. I mean, we saw, Dr. Sleep. I personally, when I saw that first trailer, I knew I was going to love it, but I knew it was going to tank at the box office because it's for a minute demographic. It's for a niche demographic. You have to be following that lore of what we're watching right now. You have to be invested already in it to even go in it. I think if you were just going to see Dr. Sleep, not knowing about The Shining, you'd fall asleep. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's different strokes for different folks, but I think that these are cash cow. These are cash cow stories. And, every year they're like, okay, January's coming around. Let's get another horror movie. Stephen King got a new novel. Let's adapt that to a film. Yeah. And that's kind of just what it is. I don't know if it necessarily speaks to the people because people usually like the books more than they like the movies. So I don't know if it necessarily speaks to the people, but I love a lot of the adaptations to film, but I haven't read the books, so I can't really speak on the book part.
Gotcha. Oh, well, so definitely Hollywood is picking his content, and whether it be TV or movies, and just pushing them out as much. Some of them, I think, in the last few years, I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in regards to maybe in the last 3 or 5 years, a lot of his stuff that's been adapted has been a lot better than some of the stuff we got in the 90s and some of those TV adaptations and things of that nature. And there's some good stuff here and there, but no, I definitely agree with you there. But PURP, man, what is it about Stephen King, man, that just makes the people want to see his next story, see this TV show, anything attached? I know he has a Stand coming out on CBS All Access, stuff like that. But
yeah, I just think it's just the branding and just his name. It's just so worldwide, and like people are just so familiar with just his work, whether it just be books or you're watching a Stephen King movie that's based off one of his books, or like, you know what I'm saying? You know that that's a Stephen King movie. Like, you'd be like, oh, these bullies are assholes. Like this is a Stephen King movie. Like right off jump, like certain tones and stuff. And like you said, like he has such a wide range of different things outside of horror, but they all his movies look like that they could connect and whatnot. And I think that's what people really like about his style. I think it's just I think it's mainly just his style that a lot of people just like. He has a distinct style like a Steven Spielberg or whoever you want to name up there. Like they all have unique styles about them, a unique charm about each one of his films, or or one of his books. They all resonate with people that and I just that's just my take on it.
Yeah, no, well said, man. No, I definitely agree with you. And Q kind of going off of what Perk was saying. And also Jay Cooper, his books, because they are so detailed, they're great. He makes creepy characters and worlds and kind of feels like you can turn anything into something creepy. So what is it exactly for you, Q, that thinks that, what makes the people gravitate towards when they see Stephen King, they're like, oh, I got to check this out.
Mm-hmm. It's the way he tells stories to keep it like simple. You know what I'm saying? His imaginative ways to tell stories about different things, from Christine to Carrie to It, to put basic people in the stories and make something fantastical about that, even if that's even talking about escaping prison. You know what I'm saying? He has a very unique way to tell story from, our perspective as an audience, and things that scare him, like alcoholism, like The Shining, or bullying, or things like that. So we take these very simple concepts and kind of turn them into something grand, even fear itself, like It, or death, like Pet Sematary. I just think he has a way of taking very simple concepts that kind of scare him and turning them into great works of art. Horror, and people adapt to them and gravitate to them because they relate in some type of way. That's why I think people like his films like that.
Yeah, no, well said. And before we go to Mr. Death Breath, in regards to a comment here, his books are amazing. What appeals to me is the classic battle of good and evil. He built his characters, and a lot of the books explore the evils of a small town life. So that sounds like Perk in his small town. Sounds like a Stephen King novel ready to happen. And before we go to Mr. Death Breath, we're finishing up the film here, guys. We get this iconic kind of big reveal, if you want to call it that, the shot of Jack being in this picture, guys. This is pretty awesome ending.
I have that picture on my wall.
Nice. I want that picture on my wall. I was just thinking about that. Like,
pretty badass.
Cool. That is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he ended up dying there. He ended up, living out the previous caretaker. Memorialized forever at the Onlook Hotel, at the the hotel there, and I thought it was fantastic ending.
It's movies like this that kind of like makes me think like, it feels like it inspired a lot of different horror stuff that we see today, like American Horror Story, like the first season of American Horror Story with the ghosts and stuff and how that works and whatnot. It's crazy.
Well said. That's a great show too. Anthology series, American Horror Story. I kind of fell off a little bit, but I need to catch. I heard the last couple seasons have been pretty good.
Yeah, it was fun.
But going back to Mr. Death Breath, and again, guys, we're the film is wrapping up, and we'll get our final thoughts on the film here in a bit. But just to go back to the question here in regards to what is it to you that gravitates you towards a Stephen King, whether it be book, whether it be novel or TV show being adapted? What is it that speaks to people with Stephen King's his works?
I think from like the money-making perspective, his name is bankable. Like if you put Stephen King presents, The Revolting of Cups, you'd be like, what's that, right? But even beyond that, I think it's really he makes good characters. He makes unique situations. He does things really well. But I do want to also deviate from Stephen King for a minute. One writer that I wish would get as much love as Stephen King does is Clive Barker. He writes really, really twisted stuff. Oh, I just dropped my whole setup. That is wonderful. If you've ever seen the Scarlet Gospel,
just got you for saying that.
If you ever read anything by Clive Barker, he does these incredible books, and they're just so well done. And but Stephen King, he just has good stories, good characters. And someone mentioned, I think it was Coop that said it, that there's the classic battle between good and evil, and he always has that element somewhere in his books. But evil is always so unique.
Definitely. No, well said, man. And like I said, the ghost of Stephen King's one of his ghosts knocked your camera down when you brought up Clive Barker, I guess.
You got upset.
Pinhead, Cinebites might have been coming. But in regards to HorrorMania, What is it to you that speaks to you about Stephen King books, movies, things of that nature? What is it that you think just resonates with you and also just the mass audience?
So, like I said, I've only read one of his books, and it was like back in like 8th grade, I think. So I don't remember much as far as my experience. But whoever has read his books have always told me that he writes so differently, and it's just so engaging, and it makes me want to read it the way they talk about it. So I think that's definitely one of the good points about him, that he is an author that's a little bit different from your typical ones based on what I'm hearing from others. But it's definitely has become a cash grab also. Hollywood is definitely milking his name at this point, like
100.
approved by Stephen King even at this point, even if it's not a movie he made, or like he tweets about it and it's everywhere. But yeah, I think it's a lot of marketing there. But for me, it's just, I think whatever I've seen so far has been good. Even if it's not like the best movie I've seen, it's been enjoyable. It's been a fun one-time watch, if anything. So for me, that's what it is. If I see like a movie that's like made from his books, I'm in, because it's going to be a fun time at least.
Awesome. No, that was well said. You always, I mean, I echo everything you guys have said in regards to the relatability factors, these stories about, you know, whether it be bullying or coming of age stories. And again, I think of it with the kids and their bond and overcoming this evil. I mean, there's so many things you can relate to, no matter how outlandish it gets. You get turtles and all that stuff in the It books and all that. But, you know, it speaks to a lot of us in growing up and that childhood and going back to facing your demons. I mean, there's so much to be said about his work. So I think you guys are 100% right in regards to, when you see Stephen King, everyone wants to adapt something. What's the next Stephen King hit, right? What's going to be on Netflix? What's going to be on the big screen? So I mean, it just speaks to his work. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. But in regards to time, guys, I had a couple more kind of topics to bring up. Are you guys okay with time? Do I have you guys for like another 30 minutes or so? 40 minutes? We're good. Okay, cool. So a couple other topics, kind of games, if you want to call it that I wanted to bring up to you guys. And again, I appreciate you guys answering these questions and having some awesome comments and all that fun stuff. Again, for all those that are at home, the film is off, but we're still going to have some conversations and topics that we're going to go over. So make sure that you give this video a thumbs up and support all of these content creators. They have some amazing content, whether it be YouTube, Instagram. So all their links are in the description below. So kind of our next kind of topic, which is a great segue into the question of the night. You know, we just celebrated the 40th anniversary of The Shining. And this is, of course, we were just talking about Stephen King, but I want to know what you guys think in regards to what is your favorite adaptation? What is, from book to film, what is it that you guys love? I'm going to bring up a little bit of a couple of his films, and obviously there might not be some on this picture here, but what is your personal favorite adaptation from book to film from Stephen King? What's your number one?
Wow.
Starting off with David. And again, this is just these aren't just the ones that anyone, even if you don't see one on this picture, anyone you can think of that speaks to you. What's your favorite adaptation for Stephen?
Wow. See, I had one in my head. Now you threw all these at me, so I'm thinking differently now. That's okay though. And you know what? The one that I was thinking about is down there. So I always had you guys have not seen that. Fantastic. You want to talk about bully movies? That is the ultimate bully movie right now. And they made a sequel that I really didn't like. I think it's called Sometimes They Come Back Again.
No, Sometimes They Come Back Too.
Or really? Okay, I thought it was called
so.
Again.
Yeah, I think
okay.
I'm wrong.
And no worries. But it was Sometimes They Come Back Again, and Cujo I was always deathly afraid of. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna say probably Sometimes They Come Back was one of my favorites for sure. I don't know if it's because you got Carrie up there. We were just talking about Carrie but Sometimes They Come Back was one that I grew up on. It has more nostalgia factor because I think I've actually seen it more times than The Shining.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's not the fan favorite either. I'll tell you that, but it was my fan favorite.
I haven't even. That's one I haven't seen from his. I have to check that out. I'll see if it's streaming somewhere. But that's a great answer. I love it, David. In regards to you, Park, what's your favorite Stephen King? And again, it can be TV show, it can be a mini series, it can be any of these on the screen now. But what's your favorite Stephen King book?
I'm going to exempt The Shining because we were talking about The Shining, so I'm gonna leave that off and just go based off this list. I would say The Mist.
That's a good one
because just that ending is insane. Like if they would have just waited like a minute or two, they would have gotten saved. But just that was incredible.
Oh my gosh, that ending.
An honorable mention I would have to say is Salem's Lot. That was really cool.
I'm ready to remake. James Wan, I think, is attached to that or producing it or something like that.
Yes.
Awesome. So that's some great picks. What about you, HorrorMania? What's your favorite from book to film to TV adaptation by Stephen King?
I think I'm gonna go with It Chapter 1, 2017. I think we finally have a modern classic, which is hard to get nowadays, and it was so well made, and I can watch it over and over again. It's really good. So I'm gonna go with that one.
That's a great answer. Yeah, same. Go ahead. Your turn, Mr. Death Breath, in regards to your favorite adaptation from Stephen King to the big screen.
I want to agree with HorrorMania that it 2017 is incredible and it is a modern classic. But I want to add, I really liked 1408. That was awesome. That was such an awesome movie.
And Sam is in that too, right? Sam Jack.
Yeah, that's right. He is, and it's just so claustrophobic. And it's like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but the movie starts the same time the clock starts.
I believe so.
So by the time the film ends, you actually went through this whole journey that's actually related to the current time we experience as an audience. So when it's over, it feels exhausting. It feels like you went through a thing. It's such a wild movie, and I love it. It's incredible.
Well said, man. And then Q, man, what's your favorite? It can be The Shining if you want to, or you can exempt it like Perk did, or if there's another, or maybe a movie. But what's your favorite big screen or small screen adaptation from Stephen King?
Yeah, if I had to be honest, it's The Shining. Shining is my favorite horror movie. I think it's just so well directed and well acted by Jack Nicholson. The Scatman, Crothers, and the audience quite doesn't know what's going on about it, and it's so weird and it's still so well done. It's a timeless classic like a Goodfellas or a Back to the Future. You can always watch it, you know what I'm saying, and still be entertained. I watch it every year, at least once or twice every year. Weirdly around Thanksgiving time when I watch The Shining. So, and I can relate to some stuff now with having a son and things like that. You don't want to like drink and hurt your kid and things like that. Like very simple storyteller elements along with this ultra thing with The Shining, to enhance our basic fears and everything. So I really love The Shining, and if I had to pick one or two, I definitely love Brian De Palma's Carrie. What such a great film. And the 2017 I do think it's the new modern day horror movie classic, so I have to agree with HorrorMania and the guys. So yeah. But if my favorite, I'm biased of The Shining though, but if I had to pick one out of that one, it'd probably be it 2017.
Gotcha. I mean, I agree with you. That was going to be my pick too, in regards to excluding the Shining. That film. Yeah, like HorrorMania said it perfectly. It is a modern classic in my opinion, and I just love that film. And again, I'm a sucker for coming of age. I love when kids are put in kind of adult situations. And again, I thought Pennywise and Bill Skarsgård's performance was fantastic, and Andy Muschietti did a really good job. So that's definitely my pick. So definitely some great picks, guys. And again, we'll kind of backtrack a little bit and go into just kind of your final thoughts, guys. And I got a couple more things I want to bring up to you, but just kind of final thoughts on this film that we just watched, which is the Shining. Starting off with David, just kind of final thoughts on the film, man. Does it still hold up for you? What is it that speaks to you now? And just kind of overall thoughts of the film, my friend.
I know my camera keeps going in and out. Sorry. The final thoughts on The Shining, 1980. I'm glad we rewatched it too, because I get a different perspective, obviously, watching it with you guys. Like I said, I always watch it with that documentary. It's like I'm picking part. Man, there was so many seconds I was like, hey, guys, look at this part. Look at this part. Look at that Easter egg, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't want to do it. But it's cool kind of seeing maybe where Stanley Kubrick's head was at the time, or maybe he intentionally did it this way or this way so he could jab at Stephen King. We don't really know for sure. I mean, we know from what he said or on set interviews and whatnot. But I think this holds up as far as, and a lot of people don't even call this a horror movie, and I understand reasons why. It is a thriller. I mean, you get supernatural things happening throughout this movie. I could understand to a newer audience, they don't get it. They don't like this movie at all. I think it holds up just because I grew up on it, and I understand. I guess the script was really, really good in my mind. I'm looking at the overall picture of this, and I think it landed really, really well. Once again, the casting, even though I didn't really enjoy Wendy in the beginning, I think her character grew on me, and I think it's just an overall great movie. And yeah, it still gives me that same feeling. Watching it every year, I still get that same satisfied feeling, and now I want to watch Doctor Sleep again after this.
Watch Dr. Sleep after this, to be honest with you guys. So,
Yeah.
David and Perk, man, kind of final thoughts on this film, and then we got a couple things I have for you guys to wrap up. Just kind of final thoughts on the 40th anniversary of The Shining.
My final thoughts are: it's just this movie just never gets old. It's kind of like I put it in the category of those films that you could always watch on repeat, and they never get old. Like Friday, I got that in that category, and The Shining is definitely another movie that holds up. And it's crazy it's been 40 years because it doesn't really feel like that, but you know, it's gonna be interesting to see when they do like their 50th anniversary, or if we're still around, if we can get to the 100th anniversary, like what will horror films look like by then and stuff. And will be the landscape of streaming and everything at that moment. It'll be crazy. And will it still hold up 100 years from now or something like that? So it's going to be interesting. I'll always enjoy this film. I enjoyed this experience too. This was really cool, talking to everybody that are horror fans, and you know, it was cool.
I appreciate you being on, Perk. And again, this is a timeless film in my opinion. But HorrorMania, what is it? You know, speaking on the 40th anniversary, again, I know just like with you and me both, we haven't seen this film in a while, and obviously we weren't locked in as we would be if we were just watching it at home without commentating on it. But just kind of, you know, your overall thoughts on the film, and you know, just kind of wrapping up your final thoughts on The Shining.
I think this is a movie that's like way ahead of its time. I feel like watching it in the movie theater then would have been terrifying, or just as good as getting that Dr. Sleep experience now. So with that said, a movie that is ahead of its time, I feel like it's also one that's going to hold for a very long time. So watching it now doesn't feel like I'm watching a movie from, what was it, the early 80s, you guys said? So it definitely doesn't feel like that. It's good. It's a really good movie, and I think years down the line, it's still going to hold, and it's still going to be a special movie of its own.
Well said. Well said. Couldn't agree more. And then, you know, Mr. Death Breath, in regards to your final thoughts, my friend, in regards to the 40th anniversary and just where this film lands for you after seeing it, you know, for however many times you've seen it now.
I'm going to echo everyone else, because I mean, everyone said it well. I mean, it was ahead of its time at the time. It still holds up. I do want to add, actually, I did see it a couple years ago in theaters.
Oh, nice.
And it was just as enjoyable as it was sitting on my couch. I don't think it was much of a difference.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't feel like it was a difference. The only difference is the people that I was watching with were really into it. So it made it more fun. But I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's a great film. It's well done. I mean, the acting, there's really nothing you can look at and go, oh, that just doesn't work, or that seems dumb, or that doesn't hold up. Right. You know, there's nothing that really makes it, like, you know, for instance, Pet Sematary, the dad making weird faces, or the, as David put it, no moments, you know, there's nothing like that. It's just a well-crafted, well-acted film that is done so well, it doesn't need anything. I mean, really, it never needs to be remade. I mean, I know it will, but there's really no point, because it's just so well done, even till now. I mean, you know, watching it today and watching it, you know, 5 years earlier, it doesn't make a difference. It's still a solid film. So it's fantastic. No complaints.
Man, well said. Q, final thoughts, man. I know, just like, you know, Perk said it earlier, this is one of his favorite films of all time. And I know you mentioned it as well. This is definitely one of your top tier movies. So 40 years, man, is celebrating its 40th anniversary. And everyone's pretty much said it. This film just has something to it. It has that magic.
Yeah. So I turned 44 this year. And I remember seeing this film when I was 4 in a drive-in.
Oh, wow.
So I saw it in a drive-in. I was 4. I didn't understand what I was looking at. I was like, what is this, dude? I didn't understand. I thought it was too adult for me or something, but I was always intrigued. And I didn't go back until, you know, I was much older. And then I was like, wow, this is incredible. You know, and I knew I was missing as a kid. And I learned to appreciate the film more and more as I got older. Then I started seeing, like, the underbodies, of course, with, you know, his kid, the dynamic between him and Danny. I was like, oh man, that's deep now, especially me having a son myself. And I started to see the deeper meanings, even more with Dr. Sleep now. With Dr. Sleep makes me even appreciate The Shining more, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? It's just all around classic. The direction of this film, the color palette, the cinematography, the acting of Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall is incredible. I mean, sometimes I can say, like, Heath Ledger is better than A Dark Knight itself. I mean, that actor elevated the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in this type of case, I can't tell what's stronger. I think the most strong thing in this movie is Stanley Cooper's direction of this film, but Jack Nicholson brings it up to a level that's like he could have got nominated for Academy Award and won that boy. You know what I'm saying? By himself. And it just makes me appreciate the film more and more after seeing it. Directors copy off his style. Jordan Peele with that dong, 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 and this overbearing shots. If you pay attention, a lot of directors take from this, you know, how to build tension and you know how to transition through scenes like Dave was talking about it today. So the film is just a masterpiece in my opinion, and I will always value it. 40 years, 50 years, however long I'm around. So yes, that's why I really love this film.
Love it, man. Love it. And again, just to not to harp on what you guys, I mean, to echo with exactly what you guys said, it withstands the test of time. The direction, the acting, the story, and again, this is one of those films, again, you sit down and I remember seeing this when I was younger, just like you said, I didn't really appreciate it growing up. It took me quite a few times, a couple of viewings, and until I got older to really appreciate this film as for what it is, which is a modern, just a classic movie. Some might call it a masterpiece. But yeah, this is a fantastic movie. I can't believe it's been 40 years. And who knows, maybe we can celebrate the 50th anniversary if we're all still around and on YouTube or whatnot. But no, great film. And again, I appreciate you guys, watching this with me and everyone in the chat. But I got a couple more things I'm going to bring up to you. But again, we want to show homage and pay respects to Stanley Kubrick's and Stephen King's The Shining. I appreciate you guys watching this with me. So a couple other things I have for you guys, and then we'll just wrap this up here in a little bit. But I'm just curious, you guys brought it up a couple times in the chat, some of your favorite directors and everything of that nature. But in particularly, I want to know, starting off with David, name some of your favorite horror films this last decade. Some you could do your top 3, top 5. You can list off as many as you want, my friend. But I just want to know what was the film that spoke to you guys between 2010 all the way to where we're at now, 10 years later. So some films for the last decade, man.
So I have short-term memory, so I'm probably only going to remember the last 3 years.
But hey, for sure.
Oh man, I don't want him to take 2 spots, but Get Out and Us. Jordan Peele made a phenomenal impression on me with those 2 movies. I know a lot of people prefer Get Out over Us. I mean, they're 2 completely different movies, but I think they're both phenomenal. Hereditary, obviously, we were talking about. It was a movie that genuinely scared me while I was in theaters. I went into that movie not knowing how scared I was going to be, and if a movie can do that to me, to a point where I'm almost closing my eyes, I'm auditory, but if I'm almost closing you're doing something. It's visually doing something to me. And that whole third act was phenomenal, fantastic. I had no problems with that. Ari Aster is definitely a director that I would, I'm looking forward to in the future. I know he's only had the 2, right? The Midsummer and Hereditary so far. So I'm definitely going to have to see Midsummer and make up my decision. But I would say Hereditary, Us, and Get Out. Just off the top.
I love it, man. Awesome list. Park, what about you, man? This last decade.
Oh man,
what sticks out? 'Cause I know you see a lot of movies, man. So I would love to know your top 3, top 5, top 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go completely out of order. I know this is not 2010. This came out in 2009, but I'm still count it. The Loved Ones. It's an Australian horror movie. The way they pitch it, it's like 16 Candles meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So yeah, if you could find that on VOD or something like that, definitely go check that out. That's like one of my favorite horror movies.
What was it again? What was it?
The Loved Ones.
The Loved Ones. I'm about to. Oh yeah, I see everyone posting about that. The only thing I see online on Instagram is everyone shows.
Just added it too, so everyone's watching it. But he's right; it's a really good movie.
Every scene I see is the guy in the chair and the girl or the guy like putting the whatever mechanical machine in his foot. Yeah, I gotta check that out.
It's dope. What's another one? Cabin in the Woods. Better watch out. That recently came out like in 2016, 2017. It's essentially like a Home Alone type of movie. It's like a Home Alone meets Home Invasion kind of, but like with like a horror thriller slasher kind of vibe to it. May the Devil Take You. That's on Netflix now. That's more of like a foreign horror, one of those. I think it's like Indonesian horror.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think it's Indonesian. Yeah. That the Babadook. What else? The Lodge. The Lodge I could definitely recommend.
That tonight.
The Wretched. You definitely check that out. It might not hit for everybody, but I bless you. But what other movie? Trying to blank on it because there's so many.
It's a good decade, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely been some really interesting horror movies this last decade. You just gotta go find them.
Right.
Terrifier was cool.
Oh, Terrifier was awesome.
Terrifier. Me and Q, we talked about that on
Man, what? Do not tell me you guys have disagreement.
I appreciate people that like that film. It's a certain like level of like absurdity I can go to, and I appreciate when directors go crazy. But that film to me was just like, what the hell am I watching? But I know people love it, so I'll leave it.
No one was safe, buddy. No one was safe. That's what it was.
Story, the acting,
no happy ending.
Oh my gosh! But yes, go ahead, Perk. Was there any more on your list?
And they're making a part 2.
They are.
Let me see. Jesus.
Perk, have you seen The Haunted when they go in that haunted house and they get slashed up? Yeah, I think it came out like about last year, produced by Eli Roth.
Oh yeah. Haunted. Yeah. Because Haunted is the one with the Wayans brothers. That's what I'm thinking. That's what.
Oh, that's
Haunted House.
No, not that one.
Haunted House. That was Haunted House. Then, but,
Haunted House.
Yeah, but as far as other horror movies, I'm having a brain fart right now. But those are the ones I would definitely recommend. Another one that didn't come out in the 2010s, but came out in like 2007, Trick or Treat. That's a phenomenal.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
That I got that as one of my top favorite horror movies and whatnot. But I'm excited to see this next wave of horror movies in the future.
We'll get there. That's one of my next ones. But yeah, I love that list again. Perk minded guys. Some people in the chat appreciate the recommendations, like the Loved Ones, and Eva brought up some good ones too. So yeah, this is great. So Q, this last decade, man, what were some films that stood out to you, man, that you might recommend to somebody to check out if they're just getting into horror?
Oh, okay. So not just like the top 3, then.
Anyway, it could be your top 3.
Yeah. Like so, I was thinking about the top 3. I in no particular order. Of course, Get Out. Get Out was just a great concept for a horror movie. More of a thriller, probably, but still, it's still horror elements there because the switching body things. I really love Jordan Peele's Get Out. Though he did a phenomenal job. Hereditary. It's messed up. And I literally seen that in the theater. When the part happened, I had to literally get out and almost call my family. Like, is everybody all right? Is everybody fine? Y'all all right? All right. Yeah, it literally freaked me out. And 2017's It. That was just all around great directed horror film. For horror movies that people haven't seen, I don't know. Train to Busan was fire last night. I watched that last night. Not a lot. It's not super gory. But super intense, bro. Like, it's just super intense. And you with this character, and it's a girl in Train to Busan is the best little girl actor I've ever seen in my life. Like, oh my god, dude! Like, I was almost weeping. Like, oh man, yeah, she's so good. Yeah, that's a good one to recommend.
That ending,
man. Yeah, that ending, though, man. I love it. Train to Busan was fire. The Haunted. That's a good slasher movie. Things like that. Just a couple off the top of my head. I don't,
I love it.
More.
It's a great list, man. And then Mr. Death Breath, in regards to some films that we might have not have mentioned yet, or some films that really stood out to you this past decade, my friend.
Yeah. So I guess from like 2010 to now, because I mean, there's so many, and it's hard to compile a list because I feel like my list would change. Sure. Off the top of my head, right off the bat would be It Follows. I don't know if you guys seen that movie, but it's just really strange.
Oh, hell yeah.
It had a crazy effect on me because I like the concept how, David can see something, but I don't see it. And David's like, it's right there. I'm like, there's nothing there. And I love that whole concedspt. Obviously, It 2017, like HorrorMania put it, it's a modern classic. It's just so well done. It couldn't have been better if they tried to make it better. Midsummer, because it just really stuck with me. It was very strange, and I couldn't get over it. I want to also add A Quiet Place, because I know that the monster's debatable, but it's one of those films that you watch it, you're not going to be popcorn munching. And if the person is eating popcorn lot, you're going to be like, shh. I remember watching that film. My hand was digging into the seat rest the whole time, and I was just trying to be careful with my breathing because I didn't want to. It's like you become part of the film. You're not watching it in it.
Yeah, man.
Want to also add? I want to add Terrifier, and I'm going to give it a fence for it. Okay, Terrifier is taking it back to slasher horror movies.
Yeah, it is.
It's like going back to why does Jason kill? It doesn't matter. Jason kills because he wants to. I mean, there's one scene that almost made me stop watching the movie. If you know what I'm talking about, the inverted hanging upside down scene. Yeah.
That was insane.
But it's just it really is a monster chasing people, murdering them. That's what it is, and it's just going back to really simplistic writing.
It's an homage. It's just an homage, yeah.
Yeah, and a final one. Happy Death Day. I love Mean Girls. I think it's a hilarious movie. I love 16 Candles. I love The Breakfast Club. Happy Death Day is that meets Groundhog Day, and it's so stupid and so annoying, and it's such a dumb movie, but it's just fantastic.
No, that's a fun movie, bro.
I didn't like
Happy Death Day is fun. I love
Heck
that movie. Yeah,
but ignore the sequel because that was just trash.
Yeah, that was trash.
Complete
The
trash.
first one was fun.
100%. I totally agree with you.
I love that list. I love that list, Mr. Death Breath. But yeah, HorrorMania, what are some films that you can remember from last decade that you just like, man, that I lived in that time. I can say that I was in that time. Yeah, what's some films you could think of?
So I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna give you guys 3 from 2000 and on, and 3 from the last decade that I like. From 2000 and on, The Descent is it's my favorite horror.
Oh my
movie
gosh,
of
that's
all
amazing.
time.
Just became best friend.
I think, yeah, that one it's just above everything else for me.
Yes.
It scared me to death the first time I watched it. I think I watched it like 3 times in one weekend, so that says a lot.
Wow.
And I still love it. It still scares me even though I see all the scares coming. So it's just so good. That was my favorite. Eden Lake, I think that's a very underrated horror movie that people need to see. And Eden Lake, yeah, it was a British horror movie, and I don't see people really talking about it. There's no Blu-ray.
Oh, I saw that one. That was good. That was a really good one.
Yeah, it's a really good movie, and the ending just leaves you so empty and sad. It's just so good. I highly recommend that one too, and The Loved Ones, which I won't get into that much because we already talked about.
Yeah, Michael Fassbender's in that you just mentioned, Eden Lake.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jack
get a small role. Yeah.
Okay.
And then just as far as the last 10 years, The Wailing definitely would be up there. I think that's a fantastic movie that, again, is not talked about enough. Had me guessing all the way till the end, and all my guesses were wrong, so that says a lot too. The Wailing Mother and definitely The Witch, I think that's another modern classic in my opinion. It's genuinely creepy. It's a slow burn with a rewarding ending in my opinion, so those 3 I think would be one of the best ones in the last 10 years. And Neon Demon, I like that one too, so there you go.
HorrorMania. Did you like The Descent too?
No.
No, it was so much fun. It was aliens. That's what it was. They go in there to kick ass. I loved it.
Yeah, no. Why would you go back to a cave that like
scene? I just
traumatized?
Yeah, I don't
unnecessary, but I enjoyed it.
Judo, Sarah. But they
great list, one more recommendation. Carry 2 The Rage. That one out there. You go see that?
You didn't mean that? That's a masterpiece, bro. Like that's top tier.
That's top tier ever.
List.
Wasn't that like a sci-fi movie? I don't even think it was like official release.
It was in theaters, yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was.
I remember seeing it. It was weird. She got angry and then her tattoo became venom.
Oh yeah, I just like.
But no, you guys had some great lists. I'll just quickly go through mine that come off top. And some people mentioned, I'm gonna get to the chat here in a bit, but The Invitation on Netflix. I remember seeing that film. Really enjoyed it in the last decade. A film that doesn't get a lot of praise in regards to remakes. Evil Dead, 2013's Evil Dead.
Oh heck yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen so much blood in a movie. Even Chapter 2, I don't even think messed with that scene with Maya's character. I love that film. You're Next. I grew up in a slasher era, so I think You're Next was like the last slasher film I can remember that really stood out to me, and one of the best final girls with that character there. Mr. Death Breath brought it up, but yeah, Quiet Place, that's one of the few movies I remember my theatrical experience. It was, like you had said, everyone in the theater was like respectful, at least in my theater. No one was talking, no one was on their phones. They were just so invested in their story, and that was one of my most anticipated films this year. Hopefully we'll get to see part 2, but that comes to mind. We talked about it already. Hereditary, the first Insidious, Train to Busan, as you guys have mentioned. I can't wait for the Peninsula and the sequel. The Conjuring, and of course, Get Out made my list. Jordan Peele, fantastic directorial debut. So this last decade was great, as we had mentioned. We got some great ones there, and I'm gonna head to the chat and bring up some of you guys' movies. But while I do that, one more little thing that I have, or 2 more. The last one's going to be kind of a fun one, but this last one here that I wanted to bring up to you guys to get your thoughts on, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, but what are some of the, those films you guys just mentioned? What are some of those directors that stand out to you in regards to working directors in this modern age? Again, a James Wan, a Jennifer Kent. What are some directors that really stand out to you guys in the horror realm? Starting with David.
Damn, why do I got to be first, man? Always first.
You're right.
And it's funny because in your watch-alongs, I'm usually last too, so I have to think about things. But shit, I don't watch enough horror movies, and I love horror, but I watch a little bit of everything else.
Sure.
James Wan is awesome. I love J.J. Abrams horror. I mean, horror directors, not horror directors. There's probably like a billion of them too. Like I said, I mean, Ari Aster. I'm really looking forward to what he has next. Jordan Peele, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I name some, and then I'll tell you if I like them, because you're a database of it. I don't really know 100% off the head. I was gonna tell you who I'm looking forward to, but I don't know if they're necessarily horror producers. I was gonna say the Safdie brothers. I'm really looking forward to what they got coming up next.
Add that to the mix. So if there's a director, again, I would love to get everyone else's opinion on their favorite horror directors, but who do you want to see dive into the horror realm? So go ahead, David. Go with that.
Safdie brothers for sure. Safdie brothers, yeah. I would love to see what they got next.
I love that. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Perk, same question, man, in regards to just some of your favorite horror directors. And then just like David put the sprinkle in there, who would you like to see dive into the horror realm?
To answer the first question, my favorite, I would say easily would be James Wan and like Jordan Peele, just the way they kind of tackle how they put out horror movies, especially Jordan Peele. How like I'm looking forward to the next song that he's gonna remix for one of his trailers, because he's killing it right now. He's been killing it with but who I would like to see dive into horror, you know who would be interesting, but I know he would never do it, would be Christopher Nolan.
I knew he's gonna say that. For some reason, I knew he's gonna say that, man. Yeah.
Christopher Nolan, or because I'm not too like I'm horrible with names, so it's like I would like to see. Yeah, I'm just leaving it at that right now. It's like right now I can't think of it. But.
Like I said earlier, Christopher Nolan doing a horror film would be kind of in the vein of a Stanley Kubrick, such an auteur, original concept director in regards to Christopher Nolan. That would be incredible. But Q, same with you, my friend. Some directors that kind of stood out to you in this past decade, or some up and coming directors that you like in the horror genre, and then also who would you like to see put their feet into the horror pool?
Yeah, my top three is easy. Yeah, anything it's three horror directors that anything they come out with, I gotta see it, hands down. That's Mike Flanagan,
sir.
Or our boy, the Hunter the Hill House. If you have not watched the Hunter the Hill House on Netflix, son, you're ready to be creeped out. You know what I'm saying? And a good story and good acting. Watch the Hunter the Hill House. I thoroughly enjoy that movie. Direction on that is a star. The actors are good there, but Mike Flanagan does his thing on that boy. So anything he comes out with, I'm definitely watching. Second on my list, no particular order, Ari Aster. That dude is just such a master of his craft and storytelling. Not really hitting you over the head with gore too much, or jump scares. He just knows how to psychologically kind of mess you up, like Midsummer, which Dave's gonna watch soon as the streams ends, and a horror movie done in broad daylight, and the pacing is good. It's ultra real, kind of predictable, but you'll be in there for the ride. And of course, my third is my boy Jordan Peele, that blew us out of the water with Get Out. Nobody expected the dude from Key and Peele to hit come with a left hook and come with Get Out and just kind of blow us out of the water. So I'm interested to see his new movie Candyman, that he's not directing, he's producing, but like he said, that Say My Name. I'm scared.
Yeah.
That used to be a fun song, so I like that. It's terrifying now, son. Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? It's clever ways he can just add that into his films like that, and he's he's somebody to look up for that came from comedy, doing horror now. So it's always going to be Jordan Peele. John Krasinski's like that too, from directing A Quiet Place. I had no idea the dude can get behind the camera and do his thing like that. So he's already into the horror genre. If it was a director who I would like to see, do a straight up horror movie. Give me a Quentin Tarantino straight horror movie, just straight horror. Directed.
Don't
by
get me
Quentin
started,
Tarantino.
man. Don't get me started.
Not produced, not whatever. Straight directed by Quentin Tarantino horror movie. The closest we got is I think Death Race.
Death Proof.
Death
Proof. Death Proof. Death Proof. Now, that was the closest. I love that one. But
Me too.
just give me a straight up one by Quentin Tarantino. That's what I like to see. Dip, dip his hand in a horror movie.
Awesome. So yeah, Mr. Death Breath, my friend, some directors this last decade that you just can't wait to see their next film. And then like everyone else, who was a director you would like to see step into the horror realm, the drama?
I want to see more Leah Whannell. I don't know if you guys remember, he was Adam in Saw. He also did Upgrade, and he's done a few different other movies.
Right.
He's really talented.
Invisible Man.
Invisible Man. Yeah.
Did he do Invisible Man, Leah Whannell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay, I didn't even know that. Yeah,
Yes.
He's fantastic. Obviously, Ari Aster. I mean, the guy. I don't know what he's gonna do next. I mean, I'd watch a romantic comedy if he did it. I'm sure it'd be fantastic. And I guess after that's kind of it, because I mean, I feel like horror is such a niche genre. I agree with David that I like horror movies, and even though I'm Mr. Death Breath, that's more my personality, less my channel's intention. They kind of just combine to one. I'm into spooky stuff. That's how I am, you know. But honestly, it's just I like directors in general, so it's hard to kind of nail down a horror director. But I do want to say, and again, siding with David on this one, Christopher Nolan making a horror movie would be something special. I can't imagine what he would come up with. You know, I really can't. I think it'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it'd be dope.
Yeah, Perk. Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. That would be incredible, especially an original horror film from Christopher Nolan would be fantastic. So, HorrorMania, same with you in regards to just some directors that kind of come to mind this last decade, up and coming, and then someone that you would love to see do a horror movie.
Sean Byrne for sure is up there. He did The Loved Ones and The Devil's Candy, and I think they're both really good horror movies. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more from him. Robert Eggers, he did The Witch and The Lighthouse, and I love both, and I can't wait to see how it is going to do with Nosferatu. So that should be cool. And the guy, I'm blanking out on his name, but he did Brawl in Cell Block 99 and Bone Tomahawk. He's such a I would love to see more from him. Those are the ones that, and of course Flanagan, he improves with each movie, so that's why I always look forward to his, because that's, I think, to me, that's a true artist. You learn from each one and do better in the next. So Flanagan's up there. I definitely would love to see straight up horror movies from Denis Villeneuve and Darren Aronofsky. I think those two would be just, I don't know.
You took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, that's some great calls. So yeah, you guys have some great lists, and I echo a lot of you guys' directors you just mentioned. But yeah, Jordan Peele, Ari Aster, Robert Eggers from The Witch and The Lighthouse. And I'm really excited to see his next film with some really great talented actors. Jennifer Kent comes to mind, The Babadook, we mentioned that, and also I don't know if you guys saw the Nightingale. That film was brutal, like brutal. She comes to mind. And of course, James Wan, Lee Whannell, as you guys had mentioned, those are definitely some people that I think are taking the genre and really putting a nice spin on it and being very creative, very, bringing some fresh meat and some fresh air into the horror genre. And then in regards to seeing someone that's not normally known for horror, again, Christopher Nolan would be great. Denis Villeneuve, even though Sicario can be looked at as someone as a horror film.
Even a rival, I would say.
Exactly. Yeah, he's my favorite director personally, and him and then Christopher Nolan. But I'm trying to think out of the box in regards to seeing someone. I think that Christopher Nolan one just is an excellent, because I would love to see what he would do with a horror movie. But or maybe, I don't know, just throw this out there: Taika Waititi doing a horror film.
Oh, Taika Waititi doing a horror film.
Shadows.
Damn.
Obviously he's a comedy on werewolves and vampires, but I would love to see what Taika would do with like an actual horror film.
Way to pull that out of the hat. That is awesome. You know what? I want to add that to mine. Taika Waititi doing a horror film. I add that to mine in addition to Nolan.
I was just thinking about that. But Elliot, what about, I don't know who this dude's name is, like the one guy that directed the one episode in Outer Banks, the one episode where they went into the house and stuff, and it almost felt like a horror movie.
I can't think of that. That's a good call. I can't think of his name right now. And shout out to Perk for putting me on that show too. That was an interesting show, a very interesting show. So definitely kind of last two things I have for you guys, and this kind of goes hand in hand in regards to directors and the horror conversations. But the future of horror for you guys. What do you think is the future of horror? What's the next trend? I know we talked about a little bit earlier, Perk, and want to kind of save your thoughts on this. But David, well, I'll switch it up, David. I'll start with Horror Mania, and we'll work our way up. So, what do you think is the future of horror?
Curveball.
Next trend is, and we'd love to know you guys' thoughts on this.
I'm actually ready for this because I wrote a whole article on this.
Nice.
Based on the trend, we're definitely going to see probably more remakes from the 70s, because it usually happens every 30 years or so. So I would say early 70s, and a lot of Universal monsters from the 50s and 60s. I would say we would get those a lot too, and a lot of comic book movies. We're going to get a lot of horror comics, I think.
Yes, that's a great
there's
point.
so many, and there's so many. There are already so many in production.
Yeah.
And then we're getting Doctor Strange. That's going to be like a straight up horror sequel. So that's going to be
Sam
really
Raimi,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm definitely gonna say 70s remakes and comic books, just graphic novel comic books. I think that's what's next.
Oh, awesome. I love that. And then, Mr. Death Breath switching up the order here. But what do you think is the future of horror, my friend? And what do you think, what would you like to see the next trend to be? I know they're doing like, what was that cop with Mary J. Blige, I don't know if that's going to be the next thing, kind of bringing social commentary.
That
into
movie
the
was
horror
so
realm.
weak.
Yeah, I heard, but
I didn't even finish it. It was so bad.
Honestly, I don't know what to say because HorrorMania said it best. I mean, they're going to keep remaking stuff from the 70s and probably even the 50s. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some. I mean, I don't know. It kind of feels like there's a banality to it at this point, right? Like they're just remaking things that have already been made, and it's not really interesting anymore. Like, I mean, honestly, The Invisible Man was good, but do I need to see it? Did it have to exist? I don't think it needed to. So I'm kind of at that point that I'm kind of just burned out with the genre right now, where it's like, unless something really blows me away, I'm really interested. But at this rate, I mean, they're probably going to remake Nightmare on Elm Street again, and they're going to reboot the Jasons, and they're already doing the Michaels, which I'm not a fan of whatsoever. So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of wish that things would kind of halt, like the same way I kind of want the Marvel movies to halt. I wish that they would just like take a good year off and bring some different idea. Like, give me like a singing, dancing action movie that's completely off the walls. Bring back classic, silent films. Do something different because I feel like all it is Marvel movies and rehashing old horror movies to modern day. So I don't know. I know that kind of rephrased the question, but I guess in short, I'm kind of sick of this scene right now when it comes to film. It's just too much repetition.
Sorry,
I forgot to mention. I said 30 every 30 years. I mentioned the 70s. I meant the 90s too.
No, I got you.
Again, we're getting the Candyman. I think the Craft is in the talks for either
The Craft has already been casted. Actually,
they casted? Yeah, it's already been casted. Yeah.
And they're trying to remake The Crow. I'm like, come on, man.
Oh, that's never going to happen.
Tales of Thief and Night next.
Yeah, you don't touch that.
Yeah, that film is cursed, unfortunately. But Q reviews, man, in regards to the future of horror, my friend, slashers, paranormal movies. We had that run where it was just like Saw and Paranormal Activity. Every other Halloween, they were alternating. Found footage was a thing. So what do you see as the future? What's the next big trend that you would like to see in the horror genre?
Those were in, of course, the torture porn era is gone now. The slasher has been gone for a while now. Of course, I would like to see that make a resurgence. But can it? I don't know. I think it's going to take more crafty directors to do more original things like Don't Breathe or movies like that with a kind of more original presence. Even things like The Lighthouse. More psychological films, or even Midsummer. Some things that we haven't quite seen yet before, even the Hereditary. So I think it's going to take more. I think originality going forward, it's going to kind of be king. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have all your remakes, your Blumhouse, whatever, toss in whatever remake that you're going to do. It's going to be okay, but they're not going to be the films we're going to be looking at 10 years down the line. I think it's going to be more things like we're probably going to be talking about movies like Hereditary for the next 5 years. Remember that? You remember the thing? So I think for the horror movies to survive, I mean, you can give a horror movie a small budget and it can grow to monumental things. So they have to keep the ideas fresh. As long as they can do that, horror has a bright future. Like I said, personally, I would like to see the slasher come back, or werewolves, because werewolves had a bad rap over the last 30 years. Vampires over the last 20 years had kind of a bad rap with the sparkly vampires thing. We need to bring a all G vampire back like the original Fright Night, you know what I'm saying? Jerry Dandruff, son.
30 Days of Night kind of did that.
30 Days, that's a good one with Josh Hartnett. That's a
That
good
was
one.
hardcore and intense.
Oh yeah, man.
it was hard. I did like that one too. Yeah, that was
a great
hard.
call.
Intense.
That's a great call.
But since then, I haven't, there haven't been too many good ones. But yeah,
Well
yeah,
said, man. Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And I agree with you. And then Eva brought up a really good one as far as director. Wes Anderson horror film would be
Yeah,
great.
that's so true. That'd
I
be
love
insane.
that call. I love that. So yeah, going to Perk Miden, man, in regards to just kind of, where you want to see things going, where you see things headed in the next decade of horror.
Yeah, I definitely think we'll see we'll see more remakes, but I think what you're going to start to see more than ever in this next decade of like horror films, is the indie scene. Like, the foreign horror movie scene, like that's really big. Like people kind of sleep on that, but that's like a sleeping giant right there. Like the more small budget, like making movies for $10 million or something like that, $5 million, like small budget films. I think that's what they're gonna really go for. And Blumhouse kind of set that blueprint.
Yeah.
And now other you're gonna see a lot of indie studios come out of nowhere making these films and stuff. And while mainstream Hollywood is worried about making remakes and stuff, you'll have on the other side indies really just making a killing off of like just original ideas. Like you look at movies like The Joker, that was like a 40-something, $50-something million budget film, and it made the money that it did. And I think that's going to be the future, like just small budget films for just more to just make a bigger box office and whatnot. But it's going to be interesting because I am curious to see what they're going to do with Scream 5 next year.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Same directors for Ready or Not, right? I can't think of the names right now, but and Cindy Prescott making an appearance, Dewey coming back.
and just to give Q a recommendation, if you want your slasher fix, I would suggest watching American Horror Story season 9. American Horror Story,
right?
Yeah, that's pretty much them paying homage.
That was dope. Yeah, that was super dope. 1984.
1984.
Yeah,
Check that out.
I haven't watched all of it, but it was good though when I was watching it. Yeah.
Was Evan Peters and Sarah Paulson in that season at all? Because those are like my MVP.
No,
Evan
Emma
Roberts.
Emma Roberts. I like her, but yeah.
Yeah, Evan Peters took a year off. He's coming back for this new season, though.
For this new season, Macaulay Culkin and everyone joining in, the Kathy Bates. I think is a new cast.
Really, Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. So we gave you some time, David, to kind of think about the answer, my friend. But I would love to know, man, what do you see in the future? What do you hope to see, and what you think the next like big trend is going to be in this next decade for horror?
So I'm probably going to piss you guys off, but when I first wanted to start just kind of reviewing movies a couple of years ago, I wanted to make a dedicated horror channel, just pure horror. But I thought that the last decade was probably the worst I've ever seen for horror movies. And I know you guys are going to hate me for that. There is a lot of gems, but the majority to me were just so bad. I had to just start watching all other movies, action movies, thriller, like drama, everything. Right. And that's what I kind of was doing anyways. But I always had a soft spot for horror movies. But it's sad looking at this picture right here that you have up on the screen that I know that probably every property is going to get remade in the next 20 years. That's
not the Lost Boys.
To me, yeah. So, yeah, probably Pumpkinhead. Like it's all these creature feature. Man, I hope they don't remake the Tar Man. That was a fucking gem.
These are icons. I don't think we got iconic characters in a while. Yeah,
and I'm probably in the minority that says, do we need a Scream 5? Hell no. Like I
agree with you.
Why don't
so anti that movie
running around?
I would say to counter that, because like Scream 4 surprised me because I didn't know that I didn't think like why we need a Scream 4, but then like like what they touched on was pretty interesting.
They made fun of the idea of reboots, right? That was like the whole premise of Part 4. So that's why I'm looking forward to it and see what they make fun of.
Scream 1, Scream 4, ignore the rest. That's how I feel about it.
It's so meta.
And I don't mean to attack the franchise. It's fine, but I feel like horror has a lot more misses than it does hits. And that's kind of like a personal opinion. But where do I see it going? And I agree 1,000% with HorrorMania, not because she studies this type of stuff, but I knew about the whole rebooting of all the I forget what you call them, the Universal monsters or whatever they call them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had heard about that. I think they're uninteresting properties, and once again, minority. I think
I agree with you.
Not too many people are going to give a shit about the Wolfman. Not too many people should give a shit about Mummy. Like, that's just what I think it personally is. I mean, Invisible Man did well because of the spin of the whole optics. Spoiler about the whole suit and stuff.
Oh.
That was cool because it worked. It worked in this day and age. But I feel like the other properties are just not strong enough for a newer generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I think that is where the future of horror is heading, is a bunch of reboots, and then even like Perp said, a bunch of independent or even international directors catching wind with some of their projects and getting U.S. fame. You know what I mean? Like we saw with Parasite, for example. Winning so many damn Oscars, right? One of my favorite movies all year. But that's kind of where I see the horror world going, and I just wish we had a little more dazzle from the horror franchise. And I think it's because most of horror movies nowadays are so low budget. You get a million of them a year, so people are just knocking them out left and right. Instead of sticking to a script that is going to leave a longer lasting impression, do that. Don't worry about the quality. It's quality over quantity. It's not the other way around. And
Agreed.
I think that's where most people are thinking. And I understand with Hollywood, that's where you got to kind of think sometimes. But for horror, especially, go back to the drawing board, see what works. Like, don't reboot something, create. That's my 2 cents on it.
I agree with everything David said. He's right. 100%.
Well said, man. And you guys have, just to kind of give you guys my 2 cents on it, I think you guys have kind of hit the nail on the head in regards to, like HorrorMania said, the reboots, the 90s. We're going to see a lot of those. Obviously, we got the Candyman. We're getting the, the Hellraiser TV show on HBO Max. So you're going to see a mixture of TV shows and movies. And what are we going to say, Perk?
Yeah, I was going to say you're going to get the Chucky series on Sci-Fi next year. Yeah.
And I think that's where TV is going to you're going to probably see a lot of those. And then again, David just pointed on it, and looking at this picture, we don't have icons. There's no Jasons, Michaels, there's no Hannibal Lecter. There's no, none of these iconic characters that we've been building. But I will say this, I think the future is bright because, again, we just mentioned future of horror: Jordan Peele, Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, Jennifer Kent, James Wan, Lee Winnell, Damian Leon. I mean, there's so many different people that will, make, I think A24 and Neon, they are like the place to go. I think Blumhouse is like kind of the idea is great. And I think there's a lot of up and downs with Blumhouse, but I think A24 and Neon is where our tour directors are going to go to make these films that we're wanting, which is more, original IPs. We don't necessarily iconic characters, but iconic stories that we remember years and years later. So A24 and Neon, I think, are the saving grace of the horror realm, in my personal opinion.
I do want to throw out there, like, I think one movie could be franchise could be rebooted just because of things that happen with the director is Jeepers Creepers. I think that could be
that's a good one.
And I would actually like to see that either as a film, or I think it could really work as a TV series. I think there's a lot of
exactly
things.
Yeah, he needs to sell his property. The director needs to sell it.
We talked about that last week. Yeah, I mean, it's that conversation, right, in regards to separating the art from the artist. But there's just lines that just like, And
I want to toss in something really quick too, if I can. Terrifier, I think it's going to be big, especially the sequel. Like, he already got his name on the table mat, if you will. I think he's going to be a big thing when this new movie comes out. Seriously, because he is an original idea and he is a slasher, and it's really fun and different. I mean, it's something different, and it's something that isn't something that's being regurgitated. It is something really strange. Yeah, and I think it's going to make a splash.
I wanted to answer Jay Cooper here. Yeah, the Chucky series, that's going to be the original Chucky, like following that universe.
Mancini one, right?
Yeah, it's going to be separate from the remake stuff that they're doing.
Okay.
Letitia
I kind of like that.
Gotcha. Christopher, yeah, he is a creepy doll there. A24 killed it. Yeah, A24 Neon. That's where I've been kind of going. Whenever I see their horror films, I know I'm gonna get something pretty interesting, pretty unique. So, last thing, wrapping it up, guys, is one more little thing I want to get off you guys is brains and kind of get your opinions on this in regards to just a little fun game to wrap things up, and we'll wrap it up here. But just want to know what you guys think about this one here. This is something I thought of literally like before we got on the stream. Like, you know what? Let me pose this to my panel and see what their thoughts are on this. So just to kind of see where you guys are and get your thoughts on this particular question, let me just bring it up here. Where are we at? Did I lose it? Okay, so a little fun game. And I'll start off again with Q review. So you can pick one horror franchise that you can keep forever, and that can be reboots, prequels, TV shows. It's just one series that you can just have for the rest of your life, but then you have to remove something to be forever gone. No IP, it doesn't exist.
Okay,
I have an answer ready. I'm loaded for this one.
So Q, starting up, my friend, what is that franchise you can just live with forever and you could just go with it? Prequels, sequels, TV shows, spinoffs, everything and above.
All right, I see. You got my boy up there. That Friday 13th. Though.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Y'all expected me to say Freddy. I mean, Jason.
Jason. Yeah.
Did I just say Freddy? Damn.
Yeah,
all right,
man.
Freudian flip.
Man. So who I'm sticking with forever, man? But I get old quick. You know what? To be honest with you, I love Jason. I love Friday 13th to death. That's my favorite horror movie franchise. But I'm going with the Evil Dead. To keep.
Okay, Ash.
Because it don't have to be Ash. Ash can be around for a while, but you'll still have the Deadites, and they can always get into newer stuff. Like if it was a series for say that Ash wasn't in, I think it can go further, a long way with the Evil Dead. You know what I'm saying? To get rid of one forever. See you, Saw. It was cool. It was cool.
I'm not gonna lie. I used to be so invested in the Saw universe, and I'm actually looking forward to the Chris Rock and Sam Jackson. But every year I was at the theater, even though they got crazy at the end. But live or die, make your choice. So
is that good? That voice.
So, Mr. Death Breath.
We got to do voiceovers.
By the way, I agree with the Saw thing. I enjoyed them like crazy. Yeah. Even some of the later entries were great. Okay, so one I would pick forever would be the Freddy series, The Nightmare on Elm Street, because I think Robert Englund came up with a good idea. He was mentioning how you'd have a story, right, where all these people would be completely unconnected or unrelated, and they'd be having dreams, but everyone would have a different version of Freddy. So to some people, Freddy would look like the burned man. To another person, he'd always have one similar thing. Like he'd have the claw and burnt skin, but his outfit might change, his height might change, things that might change. It gets personified to them and their own fear, right?
Yeah.
So they can go forever in that sense. But as for what I'd remove, I'd happily remove Paranormal Activity. I just hate the found footage thing. It's just so stupid. It's like the camera is like you're on a boat while spinning on a carousel. I can't deal with it. I don't find it interesting. It just seems dumb. So yeah.
Awesome. So HorrorMania, the franchise you can just live with on an island forever. You can just take everything in that they have for the franchise, and then which one would you be removing?
If it's not obvious because I'm wearing the shirt, I also have my favorite. I love Evil Dead so much. I love the original 3. I love the reboot. I love the TV show. I have the Necronomicon. I have a Necronomicon pillow. I love Evil Dead so much. If I were to pick one, there you go. I have like 4 Necronomicons. There you go. And this one holds all the Blu-rays in there, so that's pretty cool. And then if I were to, let me show you guys.
Oh yeah. Bring that up.
Yeah, and then all the Blu-rays in there. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, my friend actually made me this. I was super stoked.
That's incredible.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and then if I were to take out one, it would be Paranormal Activity. I just did not like those movies. Especially like after the first one, I think I couldn't get past more than 2. So yeah.
Awesome.
That's an easy one.
That brings us to perk reviews, man. What are you keeping forever, and what's going away forever?
Oh, it's my turn.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm gonna go left field with this, and I'm gonna keep The Conjuring just because those stories are based off of real events, so you can kind of just play around with that. What could go and get thrown into the hellfire is the Saw movies. They could kick rocks.
They could just kick rocks. They could just.
Matter of fact, Paranormal Activity and Saw can both go in the trash. Forever.
Okay.
Damn. Okay. We could pick more than one.
That's funny. So did I go to Mr. Death Breath? Did you get your answer in, man? I'm sorry. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
You said so. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, that leads us to David, man. What's that franchise, man, that you're just gonna stay with forever? It ain't going nowhere. We're getting millions of them a year versus the one that's gonna be gone forever.
Oh man, I'm excited for this too. It's a good question. But looking at all of these movies right here, to me, like 80% of them have had their run. They're completely fine with me. But the one I would like to see more of, and not necessarily in a TV show form, but the Evil Dead for sure had such a promising future as far as like there could have been way more movies made. But I could keep seeing them forever and ever. Ooh, and that's a tough one. But since it's like so fresh on our brain, Scream has got to go. Scream has got to go. If not Scream, it's Paranormal Activity up next if I got to choose two. But for some reason, the Saw movies are like guilty pleasures. Like it's like Final Destination. I can keep watching them even though I know they're stupid as hell, right?
Yeah.
Like you just watch it for the death, anyways. But Scream,
They have a good story though.
Yeah. So, which one? Final Destination?
Saw.
Oh, Saw. I got to disagree there, but that's just what it is. So I'm gonna say Scream. Get rid of Scream. Go back to the drawing board. It started off really solid and just went downhill to me. So, but I would love to see more Evil Dead forever and ever. It's such a cool lore. Necronomicon is such an awesome lore. I just want to see more of it.
How was that? So I didn't get a chance to see the TV show on Showtime. They had like 2 seasons or 3 seasons. Was it really good?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good.
It's really
It was
fun,
good until it turned into a sci-fi movie or a sci-fi show.
And I
They
heard
lost me at season
It
2.
was good. And then I think the way season 2 ended with a cliffhanger, people were not all about it. So season 3 didn't do all that well. But it is a really fun show, and it does feel like another Evil Dead edition. It's not like something.
You know what ruined it for me? They brought in Lucy Lawless, and it immediately dropped in quality. It's like when you bring Michael Ironside into something, it immediately gets bad. It just went from being like a really solid Evil Dead spin-off show, right, to becoming like a sci-fi show that's aired on the Sci-Fi Channel after the 2nd season. And I'm like, this sucks. I just couldn't take it anymore. So I was on board until the next season. I just dropped.
Gotcha. So no, that was great, guys. I appreciate you guys letting me know what series. I mean, for me, I think Perk said it great in regards to The Conjuring. I think that you can there's so much you can do, right, with the Warrens files and the, is it real, is it fake, and different spinoffs from that. And then if I were to take something off this palette, it'll be Paranormal for sure. I think that I'm not gonna lie, the first 3 I was really into. Even the Mark ones I actually enjoyed a little bit more than others. But yeah, I can just go away with those. Just the gimmick got old. The stories got weird, especially that was it the Final Dimension or whatever it was called. It was not that good in my opinion. But yeah, that was the last game, guys. Again, I appreciate you guys indulging me and playing the games. I hope you guys have fun with those games. I was wanted to keep you guys entertained and have fun, so I appreciate that. So again, this has been a fantastic watch along, in my opinion. I hope you guys had fun at home. I hope you guys, again, are supporting these content creators, following them on Instagram, following them on Twitter, YouTube. All their links are in the bio. But again, I can't thank you guys enough. But I'm going to let you guys give a wave to the audience. I'm going to start with David. I'm going to start with you, my friend. Let the people know where they can find you, what you got coming next, and all that fun stuff, my friend. The stage is yours.
Yeah, so thanks, Elliot, for allowing me to jump on another watch along. So I'm actually going to be planning my watch alongs for June coming up. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. I was staying on trend with this anniversary watch along thing, but I think I want to go back to the movies that I have sitting on my shelf. We were talking about it earlier. I never rewatch them, so I think I want to set together, a calendar list and get those going, as well as starting the week off fresh Monday through Friday with just movie news vlogs. So if you guys are really into movie news, like what's the hottest thing, what's the biggest story, make sure you guys check out my channel. And then not really knowing what's going on right now with Netflix, but there's a couple of them that I missed from the last couple of days. So I might check out some Netflix movies. They're kind of hit or miss. Saw The Lovebirds, so you guys can check out my review. I'm not going to let you know what I thought of it here, but you guys are going to have to click my channel to check out what you guys thought, what I thought of The Lovebirds. Just came out on Netflix. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So reviews, news, and watch-alongs coming up. And you guys can find me on Instagram at Flix Talk. That's FLIX Talk. Also on Twitter at Flix Talk Podcast.
Awesome, man. Yeah, like David said, guys, he has a lot of great content on his channel, doing the daily news, dropping his knowledge on his reviews. So definitely give him a follow and support his content. So on to my guy, Perk Mine, and I'm glad you were able to join on tonight, my friend. I love your opinions and your the things you have to say about film. So again, tell the people what you're about on your channel. What can they expect from you next?
Well, yeah, like I said, I appreciate you having me on. What I'll have next, it's been kind of like a slow month for me. Like I've been dropping so much content this year, so I've kind of just been scaling it back and just doing a lot of live streams, But next month it'll definitely start to shift because we got like Fuller House coming out, and we got like Wentworth and a bunch of other things that I'm looking forward to. So expect to see way more content to be put out over not just next month, but the whole entire summer and the rest of the year. I got a live stream on Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern, the PURP show. It's where I kind of just, my main live stream where I just have people come on and, we just talk about whatever is, whatever the topics are going to be, or if there's not going to be any topics, so we just kind of freestyle it. So definitely come check me out on the channel. And I appreciate it once again.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. Like Perk said, guys, check out his live streams. They are just so much fun. He has a wide range of different guests on there, a lot of great topics. Nelly versus, Ludacris, and talking about he reviews latest albums. So a lot of great content on his channel, guys. Definitely show us some love and support. On to my man, Q Reviews, man. Where can the people find you? What can they expect from you next? When are we going to see that sleep paralysis demon make another appearance and maybe a future review?
Oh, I don't know. I just got to go to sleep, and then we'll make the sleep paralysis demon come back alive with the Fright Night music. Things like that. Yep, he'll be back. Don't worry. So,
you can do the demon versus Carrie.
Demon versus Carrie. Sleep paralysis demon is coming back. Don't you worry. You can find me at Q Reviews with an S. We over there. We got a couple reviews up right now. We got the sleep paralysis demon. Why Travel Channel is all ghost shows now, all day, every day, when it used to be about food. I don't know. Ghosts are what's in nowadays, I guess, huh? But other than that, I'm shooting the Lovebirds review. I just shot that, editing that today. Find out my thoughts on that Netflix gem. And other than that, I'm thinking about doing a Predator 1987 movie review. I got some good ideas.
Oh, damn!
Yes.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I was watching it today. And then he was talking about man, this movie it's pretty awesome. I don't think there's a lot of reviews. I think I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
So that's what I got going on. Thank you, Elliot, so much for having me on. Big Perp up there, Dave, HorrorMania, you know what I'm saying? It was all you guys on here. It was Death Breath. It was a pleasure to be on with you guys. Thank you so much.
Definitely, man. And again, guys, what I'm looking forward to, Perk or Q as well as some more food reviews, because you did a review on the noodles not too long ago with the wrap snacks. That was a really good video. So I want to see more food reviews reviews, and maybe the demon get involved somehow, make an appearance, mix of the two. So
food demon,
man.
There we go. Right.
So on to Mr. Death Breath, someone that I just came acquainted with, and this will not be the last time you see him on my channel. I love his opinions on movies, horror movies, and just everything in general. So where can the people find you, and what can we expect from you next, my friend?
Thank you again, man, for having me on. Thank you again for Eve introducing us. I do spoiler-free film reviews, sometimes celebrity interviews. I've done some red carpets, done some cool things. I recently have a video, top 5 best film openings. It's pretty wild. It's really fun. I go from action movies to some horror movies to you name it. I also have an interview with the director of The Voices starring Lynn Shay. That should be dropping soon. And I have a platform review with my good friend and my sister from another Mr. Michelle Halloween. We shot that recently. I just need to edit it, and I have other things coming, new videos every week. Please check it out. I always talk like this. I always talk like a crackhead. That's just my energy. So if you like it, please subscribe. If you don't, I'm sorry, I can't change it. Yeah. Thanks for having me on this.
Hey man, I love the energy. I love your opinions on stuff. I look forward
Thank
to
you.
your future content, my friend, and doing more collabs in the future with you, man. So,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mania, I have been such a fan of your content on Instagram. I love your opinions. I love when you're watching a new gym or watching something from the past. So I love your content. But where can the people find you, and what do you have next?
So I'm the most active on Instagram, and you can find me under HorrorMania. So that's where I'm more active. That's where I post my reviews, because I'm actually pretty camera shy. I'm surprised I did this. And yeah, so through the pictures, you get to read my reviews. And I'm also over at modernhorrors.com writing some articles, whether it be lists or some opinions. That's also where you can find me. And yeah, what's next for me? I'm just going to continue watching some classics of myths and some new ones, and just keep doing what I've been doing for the past like 8 years. So yeah.
And you do a great job on it, and your content is fantastic.
Thank you.
All of you guys' content is fantastic, and I'm so happy I was able to get you guys in tonight. Before we head out, there's a couple last little things from the chat. People saying they had a great time, which I'm so glad that happened. Everyone in the chat, thank you for everyone that came by, dropped a comment, watched this movie with us. It had a great conversation about horror genre, the future horror, and all that fun stuff. So I thank you guys again. If you're not already, subscribe to everyone's channel, follow them on their social media accounts, support their content, because like I said, guys, you can see that these people know what they're talking about, and they have great personalities, and they're great people. So again, wrapping it up, David, Perk Minded, Q Reviews, Mr. Death Breath, HorrorMania, I thank you for joining me tonight. Almost 4 hour stream. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys can join me again. Maybe we'll make a future horror watch for a guilty pleasure, maybe, or
Hereditary.
Scream 4.
I can
Scream
watch
4.
it again. Oh, Scream 4.
Terrifier.
I love it.
Ooh, Terrifier.
You lost me there, Q. But thank you guys for your time. Again, I hope everyone's staying safe out there, and you guys are awesome. So everyone be safe, and we'll see you soon.